can be free. I take the weight on my shoulders. I feel the sky come down on me. And I can't hold it much longer. Gotta let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Ready? Happy Tuesday. Foul Territory live. Same fam, same place. Kratz, Todd, Father, Braun, and still not really any trades. Besides Pierce Johnson yesterday, which we covered at length for the Braves fans.
Little Taylor Hearn action.
And a little Taylor Hearn added on. We do have Ken Rosenthal in 15 minutes, so maybe something happens over the next 15 minutes. Also, I want to make sure that we cover the Twins, so we're going to do that with Bobby Nightengale Jr., as the Twins have the best record in the second half of the season. We'll do that in about an hour, and then an hour and a half away from Paul Sewald. We actually have a lot to get to with Paul. His teammate Kelenic going down with the water cooler kick injury, his team revolting against the team store shit. Like, there's a lot to do there, so we'll cover that.
It's kind of like the calm before the storm. I don't know why.
It
just
is.
Seems like
you feel like this is your last day before it's like
it's over.
Before it's gonna hit.
Really, you were gonna be texting each other like, "Yo, did you hear this? Did you hear this? Did you hear this? Bada bing, bada boom." And then I'm going to fall asleep and take a nap and then come back and there's going to be something else.
Yep.
I don't think yet.
Okay.
I don't think yet. I want to ask
the
Ken.
day that
that's
it
what
all explodes? For me, yeah, I would say probably not until at least the weekend, maybe Saturday or Sunday. GMs love to work on like a Saturday night and just, blow everything up and be like, all right, news reporters and everybody else get to work.
Yeah, when everybody's off or something.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, boom.
Is it
Saturday night, 9:30?
4 o'clock Tuesday?
That's when it starts.
That's when it ends.
I mean, sorry, I apologize.
4 o'clock Tuesday. So between 3 and 4 o'clock on Tuesday, that's when all the trades are going to go down. We're going to be, can I get a Mike Ford over to the ball Sewald over to the,
Kratz is going to be running an auction because right now teams are pushing it because if you're a team that is a seller, you are saying there's not many of me. So I'm going to ask for more. And the teams that are buyers, you know how these GMs are these days. It's all about making a deal, right? So they can go, hey, our computers had this value percentage at blank and we got a better deal out of this. And they're like, we can't pull that off right now. Okay, well then we'll just both stare at each other at the poker table for another week and see what happens. You know what else bothers me? So this isn't a pop-off, but this is just a personal problem I have. I listened over the past 24 hours to a number of general manager interviews on a number of different shows. And guess what I learned? Nothing.
Zero.
There's not all, probably like 80% of GMs in our game right now are so vanilla ice cream. I get more talking to this table. They get asked questions. They say nothing. They just give political answers like, oh, we're always going to be exploring the market, looking for whatever. They say nothing for 15 minutes, almost, unless you ask them about either their own players or, when you talk to them, Todd, after they make the deal. Before the deal, if you're like, hey, what's going on? They're like, nothing. And you're like, oh, well, what do you think you need to improve on? Oh, everything, nothing but everything.
We're talking to people. We're trying to make moves here and there. We're focused on our team too as well. If we don't get anybody, it's fine. And he looks at his phone like, I got to go. But anyway, we're just trying to cruise through. We're looking for people. We are, but yeah, you're right. Vanilla. Keep it this way. That's the business part of these people. They don't want to show their hand.
It's not entertaining, though.
Well, I know. Well, not everything can be entertaining.
No, but you know what I think then? I was like, because Kratz, I was like, should we try to get front office people on? And then my brain's like, no, not really. I mean, maybe after trades, but before, they don't say anything.
They're not going to say anything. I get it. They can't say it. But I think we got to go to like the Phillies. Dombrowski comes on once a week.
Mm-hmm.
And he's honest with the Phillies, but he's the president. These GMs, I don't know that or maybe it's because there's so many things. Maybe it's like Kenny Ballgame. His phone is just blowing up and you're just like, I can't even, where do I even begin?
No, they could do something. And guess what? Dombrowski's on my good combo list. He's one of the few.
He's very honest.
Alex Anthopoulos on my good combo list. I think maybe some of it has to do with job security and personality.
Like, don't say too much.
Those guys have good personalities. They have a ton of job security. So they feel more comfortable speaking openly about their ball club. There's a lot of guys that are kind of newer or they're just trying to, maintain their spot in the organization for a while. And they're very well trained to just say nothing.
If you never say anything, you're not wrong.
Correct. And
Means
you
we're
won't
gonna
be
be wrong a lot.
misquoted. You won't be misquoted because you didn't say anything.
Right. And when they do say something, it's like, we don't really need that much. If we can like get a back end starter and a couple bullpen pieces and a bat,
Yep.
it's like, yeah, your team's hitting 230. Like you need to get 4 bats and send the 3 minor leaguers that you have in the outfield down. Like
I want him to be misquoted.
Yeah, of course.
Just like, oh, yo, you tricked, like, yo, that was Sly or something. You know what I mean? You got us. Hey, listen, I like you. You're a good guy,
Yeah, but like, okay, I'll give you an example, and then we'll get to some more rumors here. So, like, the Twins have been playing really good. We'll talk about them later. The Brewers have been playing really well. Both of those teams, though, need offense. Fair, right? Both of them have had issues on offense. I listened to both leaders of their front offices over the past 24 hours, and they wouldn't even really say that they need offense. They wouldn't say they didn't. They just didn't say anything. Like,
you wasted your
like,
time.
like that's
your
gonna.
team's 25th in runs. Can you at least say, you know what? We're probably going to add a bat. Like, can you give me that sentence? I don't think anybody's
It's
going
like
to
if
freak out.
the words they say are going to really change if you're going to make a trade or not.
Like, as if the stop the press is Milwaukee shutting down because their GM said they need a bat.
Okay, but they're also, you think other people aren't listening to them? If you say that in the media because nobody says anything, now all of a sudden they think, all right, well, I have that bat. I have Cody Bellinger. I know they're going to give us a top 10 prospect for him. We want 2 because I know they need. I feel like they think they're giving up leverage, but it's not. Come on. They're not. They're not, but I think they are.
Yeah. You're assuming, though, that the other side is so lost and oblivious to what your team's needs are. They're not.
They're not. They know.
If you're okay, so I'm the Cubs and I'm still not sure if I'm trading Bellinger, and I'm having a conversation with the Twins, right? Or if I'm the Nats and I have Lane Thomas and I'm going to trade him, and the Twins, they need to hit left-handed pitching better too, just like the Brewers. Do you think they're unaware? And also the market speaks for itself. I don't think they're sitting there waiting for quotes from general managers. I think they're just looking at, hey, what's available? Let me listen to all my offers. So I just would like a little more pizzazz from
or do we talk about it
interviews.
too much? Or do we talk about it too much?
No, we don't talk about it too much. It's what everyone wants to hear. The chat's already blowing up with questions asking about trades. So, including Alex needs to know Ken's thoughts on Jonathan India. We'll get to that. Don't worry. Right now, let's charge the mound. It's powered by Teza. Hold on. I'm grabbing it.
Is there one open?
I think this one's open. Yep.
What is it, spearmint?
Cool mint chill.
Yep.
Want?
Yeah.
Nice. Get you some.
I'm dipping into it.
Got it. Pirates are also willing to listen to trade offers on all-star starter Mitch Keller, according to John Heyman, listening on both all-stars, including closer David Bednar. Would seem like a pretty low probability to happen in either case, but in this seller's market, it makes sense to listen. Whoa.
I love David Bednar. Love him to death.
I think everybody would.
No,
I don't think that's
great dude too.
Oh, you just mean as a guy?
Yeah, as a guy, but he's a dude. He's
drinking
a dude,
some,
bro.
Drinking some IC lights.
Hey, he would be on the bus with us in Puerto Rico and the USA.
He'd be back.
Oh, he'd be right next to us, just chilling quietly. But then you get him going. He's one of those funny dudes, man. He would help anybody right now. And I think the Pirates should. I think they should sell. I think they're done.
Really?
Yeah, I think they're done.
Now, they're definitely done.
No,
they're definitely done.
They know they're done.
Get more
But here's my
prospects. If I was
question.
in. Go ahead.
Bednar and Mitch Keller have years to go. It's not like they're rentals. So for me,
They've always made mistakes, man.
when does this stop? If I'm a Pirates fan and I look, those are my 2 best pitchers. When does it stop? When do we stop doing that and start trying? Because, hey, Kratz remembers, and I smashed them. Beginning of the season, people are like, are the Pirates good? And what did I say?
Not a chance.
Not a chance. But what did I also say? They might be good in a year or 2. They might be good next year, good enough to be a team that starts to surprise people. What do their chances look like if they trade Bednar and Keller for more 18-year-olds?
Yeah, I mean,
we are who they thought we were. They were. That's just what they do.
You can't trade those guys. I think the reason they're listening to those guys is because you're not trading those guys for 18-year-olds. You're trading those guys for a Jonathan India. The Reds want a closer. I mean, that's I don't like that trade at all. It's not going to happen within the division.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be fighting the Reds for the next hopefully the next 4 years.
Mhm.
Maybe the Pirates aren't even ready this year yet. You have
Excuse me,
schemes.
you're making me
Bless you.
nauseous over here.
Yeah. But if you take those guys, to me, the only reason you listen is because you have two guys that are Bednar's got 3 years of control
Mhm.
and Keller's got 2 years. They're not going to extend them. They've already got too much success in the big leagues. It's going to cost too much. Do you get a controllable 1 year piece?
Yeah, like what are they trying to get from him? Like, all right, we're putting him out there,
And that's why they listen.
they're just listening.
They're just
Yeah.
listening. But this should be glorious for anybody. We're even talking to Paul Sewald. You think DePoto doesn't hear that Bednar's being listened to? He's got a bullpen of a plethora of closers. The Padres, they're not going anywhere. Hater, what is that? Like, if you're a closer, to me, I don't think if you're on any of these teams and you're a closer, you have an opportunity to be traded at this deadline if people are calling the Pirates about Bednar. Now, they're calling because the value is 3 years of control of a closer, which is going to go like $6 million, $10 million, $12 million, probably in his arbitration years.
So what? That's
The Pirates aren't paying that.
I know, but it drives
After
me
next year.
insane. So you're gonna get rid of your, and I don't buy into. Okay, he's from the area, cool, whatever. But
No,
this dude is one of the top closers in the sport, top 10
Two-time
easy,
All-Star.
if not top 5. Fastball up in the zone with life, curveball, splitter, both plus pitches. Like he's
World
not
Baseball
going to
Classic.
slump much as a
Yeah.
closer from what you see. It's like even if he doesn't have one of his secondary pitches, he can live off the fastball and the other secondary
Figures it
pitch like
out,
it's
yep.
nothing. The dude has command of all three.
And he's not
you're
a show.
not-
He
you're-
just goes out there and on the bump, and it's not showboating. And he just goes out there, maybe give a fist pump. That's what you want. Let me do business as usual, and that's what he does.
Edwin
Crack an
Diaz got
IC light.
$100 million over 5 years. This guy's
Like
still
that.
under control for years. Okay. If I say, hey, dude, you're from the area, you want to be part of this next good Pirates team, I'm not pushing some money across to see if he's a long-term guy, an extension guy for 15 a year.
Yeah.
Your original question was, when do they stop this?
Yeah.
The Pirates don't. Until the ownership changes, they're going to get a new GM in. They're going to get a new manager in. They're going to get all new coaches, all new players. It will not end until Nutting says, I've made a lot of money. I have
Yeah.
the lowest debt to profit ratio of any team in Major League Baseball by
Yeah, of course.
huge amounts.
Yep.
And I'm willing to go all in right now because the city of Pittsburgh loves the Pirates. It's not going to change.
He'll never do that.
He'll never do it. So your question is answered easily by saying he'll never do it. $10 million is his threshold until this year. So he's gonna start showing you what his new threshold is with Brian Reynolds' contract. But he's the only one still. I mean, O'Neal Cruz, who? Like, he hasn't been healthy, so he's out of their mind right now. Like, they're trying to find what it is, and until you can lock up a guy like Bednar or Mitch Keller, who's 2 All-Stars on a rotation that the team habitually does not have rotation that stays together or stays consistent. Hopefully they don't screw up Skeens. I like the coaching staff that's there now. They're not trying to reinvent the wheel. But without Nutting saying, here's cash for some people, you're paying a closer. You're paying a guy that has a career 2.56 ERA with 41 saves in 2 years.
The Guardians did it, though. The Guardians are cheap, too. The Guardians signed a Manuel Clase last year in spring training on an extension. And, yes, he was under more team control. 5 years, $20 million. Club options of $10 million for 2027 and 2028.
This isn't easy.
I know this costs more because he's deeper into his years
Bednar?
already, right?
He's almost 29 years old. He
So
wants
maybe
a little bit
it's
of.
about the same then. No,
To me, it's easy.
10 a year for 5 years.
No, I'd give him 8 a year for 5 years, and I bet he takes it.
You think he takes that?
I bet he takes it.
5 years, 50. I'm coming back at you. I'm his agent. 5 years, 50. I sign it tonight.
45.
And I'll take it because the team's not going to take it.
Really?
That's that $10 million threshold. One player
Dude,
ever.
He's one of the best relievers.
And why are we not talking about Andrew McCutchen getting traded? Just because he's from Pittsburgh and he said he doesn't want to?
True. Never thought about that.
He is a right-handed hitting on-base machine
clubhouse
He's not gonna
loving
get-
dude.
Oh yeah, he might have said, "Hey, look, if you trade me, I am not ever coming back to Pittsburgh,
I will not
even though I
retire my
live
jersey.
20 minutes down the road."
Like never even coming back to
I
say
don't
hi to
know.
his family.
I don't know. That would be more of a Kutch question,
Yeah.
but like in a normal year, he is a guy that should be traded off of this team.
Crazy.
It's driving me nuts, and I want to hear in the chat because it's been active today. Thoughts from everyone on the Pirates. Like if I'm a Pirates fan, I'm freaking out if they trade someone like Mitch Keller. How many starters have to leave Pittsburgh and star elsewhere? Mitch Keller is doing it in Pittsburgh.
They're listening. So make sure that's a big word. They're listening right now.
Right.
So don't get your panties in a bunch right now. They're listening.
Okay.
But by tomorrow, those words can be into action.
They
And
do
that's
that?
why I love this.
They do that, they're going to start filling up the training camp for the Steelers because
When does football start?
Pirates fans are not coming out anymore.
So let's
that
stay in the
happens.
division then.
All
One
right.
more before we get to Ken. Sal Frelick. Congratulations, dude. Oh, look at that. They already got a nice little
Look at his hair.
stand for it.
It's great hair.
That is pretty. I mean, I've never seen that before. The kind of monument he's got for his ball.
Never
there.
seen
That's
the ball holder there?
No, but it's usually just a plastic square. He's got the nice little wooden piece underneath. That's beautiful.
Some teams do it, Joe.
They
do it like that right off the jump.
Right off the jump.
Wow.
I've seen teams take the ball and put it Royals, take the ball, the bat, lineup card, put it in a huge plaque,
Nice.
everything in there.
Did
They
you,
don't charge you? They do that for you?
They did it for
That's
yeah.
nice.
they
did
did
you
it for
notice that one thing he had it on?
I did.
a shirt?
He had a shirt
He had
on
a
there.
shirt
That
on.
was good. Solid.
He had probably
He
already
learned.
eaten.
He heard. No, he heard us.
Oh, he was listening to.
Yeah.
I'm sure Yelly told him.
Most
Yeah, they
likely.
said we do things with a shirt. We take pictures with a shirt. We eat with a shirt on. stuff
Especially
like
if he's kind of jacked. He's kind of jacked for a
Sal?
speed
It's
guy.
intimidating for me.
It's intimidating. You can't have any dad bods in there.
No, see,
Rolling around.
That's the problem. When I
Yeah.
take my shirt off, it's okay because it's not the best.
It's not.
But if
okay.
you got someone with the best bod in there, put your shirt on.
Put
now.
your shirt on.
father physique, dad bod.
So
Oh,
he hit
shoot.
that home run, tied the game, by the way, at 2 in the 6th. Christian Yelich ends up being the walk-off man for the Brewers, who just continue to punish Cincinnati. I mean, they are dominating them so far this season. By the way, also, I was looking into Sal Frelick is like one of those guys with 2 strikes that just does not give a shit. His
No.
numbers in the minor leagues with 2 strikes are insane. Rarely strikes out on those occasions.
Battle tested.
Very
Even-
battle. Dude's got the
Kind
hit
of remind
tool.
me of myself a little bit.
Mm.
No,
2 strikes?
Good on base percentage guy. Yeah,
Yes,
you're a
there
good
you
on
go.
base percentage guy too.
no, I would
Sneaky good
strike
on
out.
base percentage. He's not a strikeout guy.
That's
But you were
awesome.
kind of hey, you saw those swings that he was making?
Yeah, kind
And
of.
then he puts one in almost in the upper deck in Milwaukee. I mean, he's got one of those. It's like one of those things. Like, do you take a guy like that in the first round because of his hit ability?
Yeah,
Yes.
Smaller guy, runs the bases.
bat on ball skills, all that shit.
Like, it's just barrels all over the place. And when a guy comes up to the big leagues like this in a situation, he's not just coming up and playing for the Pirates and like
No,
doing well.
let's go.
They need him.
Yeah.
And he even said it in his one interview. He said, they didn't call me up here to watch games from the bench. They call or pinch hit. They called me up to be productive. And he's like, that's what I'm looking to do. The dude's already in the 4-hole in their lineup.
Pretty sweet.
It's a real for a team who has really struggled at the plate to have a guy like that. When you see a guy like Elly De La Cruz come up, you're like, all right, there's some swing and miss. You know, you're going to have some 1-for-30s like he had. You're also going to see the ball go over SUVs in right center field. But a guy like Frelick, he comes up and you're like, how do I attack this guy? He's in the 4-hole in their lineup. He's not a long ball threat. Oh dang it.
shit,
Just
he
got
is.
us.
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous.
3 game tying or go ahead RBIs in your first 3 games in the big leagues.
Quit while you're ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, is he going to get
Walk
called
out.
up? Is he going to get called up to the XMLB now?
Yeah, no, be
No, he's
The
careful.
gonna
next
be-
level?
He's going to be the Elly De La Cruz in Milwaukee. Did you see what Elly did, by the way? Joey Weimer plays a fantastic outfield, I will say. Always on the money on his first step. Like,
Yep.
always takes the first step in the right direction. Robs Elly first time around. Brewers scoreboard dude. Puts up there. Player trivia. Almost hit a home run in the first inning. ... but didn't. Elly definitely saw that. I don't know if he did, but
Oh, you always see
something
that. It's
homer.
the
Do you
biggest-
see that when
oh,
you're at the
without a-
plate?
100%.
You tell me.
Oh,
This is the
man.
players' show. You saw that
No
when you're at the
doubt.
plate?
I would always look at the scoreboards,
I hated the fact that I always looked at the
You
scoreboard.
did too?
Yes.
especially in San Diego, because they put up this cool trivia for everybody. Like,
You want to know.
Yeah.
You're walking up to the plate in Atlanta, and you want to hear what song they're playing on the organ for you. Like he's definitely looking up there and seeing it. Now, does he catch it? I don't know how long that's up there, but
It was up
That's
there the
classic.
whole time. Pretty much.
his whole at bat. I think it was
that's
like
up the
2
whole-
pitches, 2 or 3
whatever
pitches.
it was,
but
that's up the whole bat.
Yeah.
But
So you think he sees that and then he goes 450 plus?
I mean,
not because of seeing that.
it's still hard to do.
No. Not
it's
because
just
of
swaggy that it happened that
he's
way.
trying. Yeah, it's a sinker ball pitcher
Yeah.
in
I
Colin
thought-
Ray
yeah.
that you can't. He doesn't have anything to get up and he doesn't have anything to get up and in on that long
That thing
swing.
came right down to
And
the
I mean,
mound.
his swing, he was down like this,
Bing.
and he extended down. It wasn't because of what they wrote on the scoreboard, but I love what they wrote on the scoreboard. I think that is.
Don't add fuel to the fire now.
I
I
think
like
it's
it though.
so
That's
fun.
like
I did like it.
I think it's so fun.
I think it
Because
was,
some
it was
people were
cute.
like, "Oh, Brewer scoreboard operator about to lose his job."
No.
I'm
No.
like, Yo, let's have some fun.
that's like the whole Kershaw and San Diego thing. Like, relax. Like, the guy
People
put it up
flipped
there.
out on that too.
He did,
Padres haven't been the same since. but
and
come on,
that's convenient.
you're gonna blame the scoreboard operator for having some fun?
If because they wrote something on there, Elly hit a ball over the SUV and out of the stadium and hit the player parking lot. I think Ellie's not doing enough than every other at bat.
Yeah,
Like, he doesn't need a reason to be like, I am extremely talented. I'm going to hit a homer here. He's not on that level yet. Pump the brakes. Like, he's hitting 280.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like, he'd be hitting 400 with tons of pumps. Great player, but he's not motivated by a scoreboard. He was already motivated when
No.
in the Cincinnati dugout. He's like, hey, Reds fans, like,
Come
follow
yeah.
us, come to Milwaukee. Like, he was getting the boys pumped up before that. He wasn't like, I don't really know what we're going to do. They know this is a big series, and they know right now the Brewers own them.
own them. 9 of 11.
It's crazy.
And what did Freddie say when he was on? Who gives them more? Who gives them more? It wasn't the last time he was on, it was the time before. He said the Pirates give them more of a problem than the Reds do right now.
You know, that one stands out. Freddie Peralta calling for the Pirates over the Reds might be one of the only people to do that.
He didn't say the Reds are better.
Matchup wise for them.
He said matchup wise, the Pirates give them a harder time.
Interesting.
Well, that's
But true.
convenient because this year
It's true though.
the Reds are good and they're the ones chasing them and the Pirates are not. So it's convenient for the Brewers to have a good matchup against them because right now they've extended their lead. Huge for them lately. They've had a ton of games against Cincinnati and they're dominating them. Also, rivalry out west in the American League. The Astros walk off the Rangers. Dude, that game was wild.
I love that your lock was on that game because then I was locked into that game.
Yeah.
I'm sitting
Oh, you
there.
hit it early too.
I hit it so early. It's the best. That's why I hate unders because you'll
Love it.
never stop sweating on an under, but on an over. When that was at, I plugged it in the morning at 9.5. It actually ended up going down to 8.5. And when I went home, and I have the receipts, I plugged it again, and I was like,
You re-upped.
yeah, 8.5.
Love
You
it.
got an extra run. I wonder why they thought there was an extra
I
run.
don't know. Obviously, it changed a little. Whatever it was, it might have been like minus 105 and then to 115
Sure.
maybe. But it's still, I was like, you're giving me an extra run just for that? Okay. And that was settled very early on in that game. It was 5-4 in what, like the third or fourth?
6-4 in the fourth. I saw.
6-4 in the fourth. So eventually 9-6, and Chas McCormick hits a 3-run shot. And it was close, right?
Yeah.
Because they didn't know if it was definitely gone. It was gone. Chas McCormick has an OPS above 900 this year. He's been their best hitter.
Wow.
Great. And he pulled the ball too, which was crazy because normally he's going right. He's like, he really blocks himself off and scissors that back leg. And normally he's driving the ball right center
Mm-hmm.
with some thump. And that's awesome. But they turned around Chappie right to Todd Frazier's corner there in the playoffs. Todd hit that ball that stuck in the fence.
Yes, you remember that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I just
That
kept
was-
running too. I felt
had
like
you
I was
not-
Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
It would have been an inside the Parker.
Had you actually had some workouts and done some bicep curls, that'd have been a dinger, and we would have been.
It was one of those
showing
swings.
wearing our ring
hit an,
the whole time.
Hit an absolute scud with one hand. That's what I do.
Yeah, you broke the fence with one hand.
That was ridiculous.
It was, but they need this guy. I mean, who would have said Chas McCormick and Kyle Tucker are who's leading the Astros right now in their attempt to chase the Rangers? Who had that narrative? Who had that narrative at the beginning of the season?
No, not me.
The Rangers they don't have we'll talk about the Blue Jays record, Twins record since the playoffs. Blue Jays are 30-20 in the last 50. The Rangers still continue to scare me. And I think CY, Chris Young, their general manager or president, whatever his logo is.
Yep.
I think he's going to make that move that you're going to be like,
we didn't see that coming.
Dang it. Not like huge, like Verlander or something like that, but he's going to be one of the first ones to make the move of the first chip that falls. Like he might go get Stroman. If somebody gets Keller, he would get Keller. You know what I mean? Like that,
love to see it. I would love to see that.
Because I think as a ex-player GM, he understands the value of players that have experience compared to the values of prospects. And I think too many GMs and owners sit there and go, man, I love these 4 prospects. We're not making a move for this right now.
And I think Bochy at the helm too, kind of the oldest salty veteran there.
I want some guys that can play.
He wants them to play, man, and that's like a Dusty Baker kind of thing. Those guys want the guys that are experienced and that can play, and I think that will bode the right direction for where they want to go if they do decide to make that decision.
I think they could go through a lull right now. Here's why: you've got some of your big bats hurt, right?
You mean like
did Adolis play yesterday?
Result-wise, it threw a lull, or you mean like
just
like they're going to start losing some games?
Yeah, because people aren't
and not be 7-3 in their last 10. They're going to start losing.
Yeah, I could see them falling a bit right now.
Okay.
So Knob's helping me out here and says Rangers pitching is cooked. I will agree that they are going to need significant supplements. I'm with you. I'd like to see it. We start with Chapman. I know he didn't pitch well yesterday, but overall, that's a great deal for them. Corey Seager going down again hurts a ton.
Yep.
When he's been on the field, he has been one of the top 3 in the bigs.
He's last I checked, MGM had him at the second highest MVP.
That's crazy.
But if you look into his numbers,
because he hasn't played now, he's probably missed 5-6 weeks of the season.
And it's a large gap between him and Ohtani.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a large gap between him and I forget who the third person was. Larger than I thought, and it made me go back and look into what he was doing. He was a big piece of what they're doing, but he's so quiet, and there's not a lot of fanfare with it.
Nothing.
That he was. It's gonna be a big loss, but they score so many runs. I don't care that their pitching's cooked.
But they're missing 2 of their top 4 bats right now. So Seager's out for at least a couple weeks. I don't know what his exact timetable is.
Mm-hmm.
Garcia didn't play yesterday. I don't know what his situation is. He's not on the IL, so he should be
contusion.
day-to-day.
Yeah.
Right, he was hit on the hand. But, I'm not long-term worried. I'm just saying I could see them going through a lull right now. You're playing against your rival. And pitching-wise for me, this is why I picked the over yesterday. Have we seen John Gray put a season like this together? Some of those guys either haven't done it consistently over a season, like John Gray, who still got a 3.5 ERA, but gave up 6 runs yesterday, 7 hits, 3 walks in 5 innings. And then also you've got some guys who've had injury concerns in their rotation. More, I know every pitcher just about has dealt with injuries. This one, I would say a little bit more. This staff. Right? Evaldi, we didn't get to it yesterday.
I was thinking
he's not pitching in this series. I love Nate Evaldi, but it's actually, in my mind, a little bit of a Kershaw situation. If Nate Evaldi goes close to 200 innings for you this year and you make the playoffs, I think you're screwed. Like at this stage in his career, you need to have him be more of a 25-ish start guy in my mind if you want him pitching in the playoffs, which is just how Kershaw is. Kershaw, we talked about this. Kershaw hasn't gone, I think, over 25 starts in like 5 years or something.
I'm not worried about the numbers as much as I'm worried about health. If you're talking about he needs to get a certain amount, if you're healthy and you're making in the playoffs, I don't care what your numbers are. at the end of the day, because the ultimate goal, Eric, as you know, is 1, winning a World Series, and 2, get into the playoffs. That's it.
Put a ring on the thing.
That's it. And people talk about numbers, not to cut you down, but I'm just saying we're worried about numbers sometimes. No, man, how you feeling? Let's take the paperwork out of it. How you feeling, dude? You good to go? Oh, I'm rested. All right, well, you only did 20 outings. Okay, whoop-de-doo. You're still our number 1 star. Like, let's go out there and shove. So I'm not more worried about the numbers. I'm worried about making the playoffs. And that's always been my goal and my aspirations.
But as an organization, as a player, yes.
Yes.
As an organization, Scott's right. You have to think about that. Somebody might be like, dog, I'm good. Like, I'm ready to play.
Yeah.
As a manager, you have to be like, I'm going to give you a blow today.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to hate me.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a blow tomorrow. So give me what you got today.
Understand.
And so I think you have to keep players away from themselves. Everything I know about Evaldi, absolute gamer.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who gets talked about from position players that play with him the way that they do, gamer. A guy who wants to be in it. And he wants to be in it every single day. So you have to watch stuff like his velo. I don't like the fact that when a guy's velo goes down a little bit, everyone's like, oh, like it's okay. Maybe he was facing the A's and didn't feel like he needed the velo. Or whatever it is, you're not going to be 100% every day. Talk to him about it. How do we do this? Maybe you skip that start like they're doing. You just don't want it to become something bigger because, like what you said, you have aspirations. You have aspirations, and he's their guy right now.
No doubt. He's got to be.
He's their horse. He's leading the AL in ERA. Nate Evaldi, you had is leading the AL in ERA.
It's one of the best signings of the year. Matthew Greco in the chat goes, I can see Texas going after Giolito.
Okay.
That's a good rotation, dude.
I love it.
For them. I mean, obviously, just about every team is calling about Giolito right now. But
right.
Fair.
I'd like another starter, and then I'd like probably 2 more bullpen arms.
And the White Sox are that team that's going to say, I'll give you him, but you double the pot if you get Graveman also. You double.
Yep.
Like everybody wants. There's just not enough teams, and that's who I think is holding the market up. The Rangers don't want the Astros to catch them, so they're calling other teams.
You sure you don't want them? You sure?
The White Sox are like, well, I can hold out. It may even be to the point where they could hold out and get more. I don't know. I'm not in those. I'm not in those meetings.
Well, Ken's not either, but he's pretty close. Let's get to him in a sec here and remind everyone to visit TizaEnergy.com. Use discount code FOUL for 20% off your first order. Kratzy and me rocking it. Just for anyone unaware, it is for energy. It is healthy dip, no tobacco, no nicotine. It's basically like a tea bag full of energy in your mouth. We've got it right here, baby. All right. Keep an eye on it.
Love it.
And
delicious.
Real dip sucks. Senior Insider Ken Rosenthal joining us right now. Let's spread some rumors. Ken, what's going on? Excited to hopefully get some more deals going here over the next week. We were trying to predict when that would happen. So let's go hop around a few teams. Let's start with the Chicago White Sox and what you see them doing. We were just talking about Giolito. Seems like one of the ultimate locks to be dealt over the next week. Lance Lynn looks like he's got some trickiness. So can you talk us through what the White Sox might be doing and thinking about with their players over the next week?
They're selling, and they are perhaps the most obvious seller in the game, or one of them. And Giolito will go. Lance Lynn, I believe, will go too, because even though he has the second highest ERA in the sport, the most home runs allowed in the sport, there are teams that are going to look at him and say, well, he's still striking out people. He's a veteran guy. He can help us. Let's get him out of Chicago, get him away from that poor defense, that losing culture, and maybe he'll be okay. They've got some relievers too. Keenan Middleton, Rolando Lopez, Kendall Graveman. I expect there's going to be action on those guys. They might all go as well. I would not really be surprised to see anything the White Sox might do other than trade Dylan Cease or Luis Robert. I don't expect either of those kinds of moves to happen, but anything else, it has to be in play. They've been a complete mess.
I'd encourage anybody to go and look at your article, Ken's article, about how, there's some peripherals that make Lynn look way better than exactly what it is. And I loved reading that. But my question for you is, we talked about it earlier, the Pirates ownership. Can they get out of the way? And is it the ownership that, because I had said before, I don't think anything's going to change with the Pirates, constantly trading guys before their value gets to 10 million. Is there any indication of ownership, or can you give us any more information on the Pirates ownership just debacle that I feel like it is?
Well, Eric, I heard what you said before, and certainly it's fair to question that ownership until they start doing things consistently where it comes to investing in the team. The Reynolds extension was a good step, obviously, but they're in a position right now with Bednar and with Keller where they have two top performers. They are a losing team, and neither one of those guys is signed to a contract extension. So, yes, they're going to get calls. Yes, they're going to listen. But it seems to me, or at least what I've been told, is that the Pirates front office recognizes that at some point soon, sooner rather than later, they need to start winning. And Mitch Keller will aid them in that process. David Bednar will aid them in that process. And you cannot simply trade these guys unless you get Major League ready now pieces that can somehow make you even better, maybe not in 23, but in 24 and beyond. I don't personally see it. Keller has 2 years beyond this one. Bednar 3 years beyond this one. If you're the Pirates, you should be building around these guys. You should not be trading them. The front office recognizes that. Obviously, if we see Keller traded as he goes into his second year of arbitration, perhaps then we can question ownership again. But right now, I'm withholding judgment. It seems to me the Pirates are simply doing their due diligence here and listening. If someone wants to blow them away, fine. If not, they keep these guys.
Hey, Ken, looks like you did a little upper body lift today with that shirt on. You look great, by the way. My question is a two-part question for you about the Yankees here real quick. Have you heard anything about Judge? And we've heard some kind of things going on with maybe rehabbing soon. And do you think the Yankees are going to get after it a little bit on this trade deadline and try and bring another piece or two in?
First of all, Todd, if you're looking for a reverse compliment, it's not happening, okay? I'm not judging people's looks on this show. But as for Judge, yeah, he's down at the Florida complex today, getting some at-bats in a rookie game, and it seems he's getting closer to a rehab assignment. He's certainly been on that progression, and I don't think it will be terribly long before he is back. As for what they will do at the deadline, that's an interesting question, because here is another team, like many in this sport, high-priced and disappointing. And do you really think that a major investment in this team, both in trading prospects and in adding payroll, will reverse that or will change it? I don't know that you can make that judgment. Now, obviously with Judge coming back, you will see the Yankees look more like the Yankees did in the first couple of months, because without him, it's a different club. But I would expect that they'll go get a left fielder in some fashion. They'll supplement their bullpen. But I don't know that they're going to do anything major. I don't know that they should do anything major. They've already spent $275 million on this team. How much more money do you want to throw at it if the players you have are not going to perform better?
Very true.
I mean, on a similar note, the Padres, and I've been loving everything you're putting out there about them. You said, hey, I mean, if they do somehow sell, think about it. Snell and Hader could be two of the biggest pieces to move at the deadline. Yesterday, again, like heavily favored. You've got Darvish on the mound, and they get smacked by the Pirates. Carlos Santana with a couple homers off Darvish. So I'll bring a fan question into this to help you explain where you're at on San Diego right now. Charlie Long goes, how can you explain the Padres record? The team has chemistry issues in the clubhouse. There's reports that some players hate each other, and it's a toxic environment in San Diego. Now, I don't think we've seen any like very substantial reports on that, but wanted to get your thoughts on like what we're expecting from this team over the next week. It's so weird.
Well, first of all, I have not reported that. I have certainly heard that, but have not verified it to the point where I felt comfortable reporting it. And with a losing team, Todd and Eric knows this, it's a lot more difficult to get along than it is with a winning team. Things just are not as copacetic, so to speak. But at the same time, with the Padres and the deadline, they're going to see how this week goes. They're going to see what the market brings. And I would expect they're going to do a little bit of everything, because they're not going to sit still under A.J. Preller. That's not Preller's style. Yes, they have the ability to really do something special with Snell, who is the Major League ERA leader, albeit a potential free agent. Hader, the top closer, or one of them in the game, again, a potential free agent. They could trade one or both of those guys and maybe get some things that would help them in 24 and even in 23. At the same time, this is a team that has these high expectations. They keep expecting that at some point they're going to play better, and they're drawing, 41,000 per game at home. So you trade Snell and Hader, just play this out, you're effectively giving up on the season, and you're telling all the ticket buyers, we're not in on this year. It's a tough thing to do, and teams do factor this in when they're making their decisions. They've invested an awful lot in this club. They've got Juan Soto under control for only one more season. Just one more, 2024. So I would expect they're not going to pull the plug, or at least not pull it completely. There maybe will try to retool, but this is a team that cannot give up as easily. Now you might say, well, what's different about them than the Mets? Fair question. I just don't see the Mets as being as promising. They don't have the talent to erupt like the Padres do. They have great talent, but it's older, and certainly we've seen inconsistency from Scherzer. Verlander's been much better, but some of their position players have not performed. Up and down the roster, they've been a disappointment. You could say the same for the Padres, but Steve Cohen, in his public comments, has basically said, listen, we're not going to throw bad money after bad money. We'll sell if we have to, and I'd still expect that they will do that.
So we talk about clubhouse possibilities of issues. Guy like Jonathan India has no clubhouse issues. The guy hasn't been getting on the field in the last few days. Is there real possibility to the rumors that there's a chance he's gone as the clubhouse leader?
Eric, if you remember, way back when, I don't know, about a month ago, before Elly De La Cruz came up, I wrote an article with C. Trent Rosecrans of The Athletic, basically saying Jonathan India could be the odd man out here. And we all know that certain people erupted after that, and we won't go into it. But yeah, he could be, because they've got De La Cruz, McClain, Christian Encarnacion Strand, all these guys, and more coming, by the way. Ultimately, if Jonathan India, while a clubhouse leader, is not going to be the defender at second base that McClain is, and he won't be because Jonathan India is not statistically a great defender, then you at least have to look at that, and you have to entertain it. The problem is, as I wrote today, because of the defensive questions at an up-the-middle position now that has been emphasized with the banning of the shifts, right, it becomes maybe more difficult to move him. So they're in this quandary, and that, by the way, again, was what that article was about. It was just saying, we're going to have a problem here. It's a good problem. Got a lot of good players. Jonathan India, great in the clubhouse, amazing guy, but he might not fit. Maybe not this year, but certainly beyond. And at some point, they're going to have to make a decision on just how they want to go about this.
Hey, Ken, wanted to just get overall thoughts on any other ball clubs that you're seeing as making a decision at this point in the year. So I know you covered the Cubs. I think they're interesting because, yeah, they put some wins together, but for me, still not a playoff team. A lot of people are asking about the Red Sox, which I think with them, it's more just the surprise of they're very in it. I mean, you can't be right now? Is it 2 games out?
They're
you
or
can't
2.5
sell like
something like that.
I mean, no matter what, you can't sell that to your fan base. So I think they're buying. So I guess those two, and I'll add one more to the mix because they've been talked about more than anyone else. The Angels have a much lower percentage chance, according to like the Baseball Reference, Fangraphs, those kind of spots. And I was like, why? Why does it put that there? Aside from, yes, I don't like the roster as much, and I look deeper. Their schedule after this week is absurd. It's like basically playoff teams for the next month and a half. So on those 3, is there anywhere you'd want to go?
I'll tackle each of them quickly.
Okay.
The Cubs this week means a lot. And if they play well, it's going to be difficult for them to sell. They've got the White Sox on the road for 2, and then the Cardinals on the road for 4. They just beat up on the Cardinals at Wrigley. They've sold the last couple of years. And they've got Stroman and Bellinger, and Stroman, of course, is going to walk, and Bellinger probably will too. But at some point, you have to decide we're going to try to win. And maybe it's not that time, because certainly they're not a World Series type team the way they're currently constructed. But it's a division in which you have a division leader with a lot of questions, Milwaukee. You've got Cincinnati. They're awfully young. If I'm the Cubs, I'm going to think twice about it. I'm not saying they'll hold or even buy. I'm just saying, let's see what happens here in this next few days. It's critical for them. The Angels, they have a tough schedule coming up, but they're also within 4 games of the wild card. And that's the closest they've been to a playoff spot on this date since 2017. Admittedly, with an expanded playoff format the last 2 years. But it speaks to, again, Artie Moreno and his desire to compete. Remember, go back to the offseason. They spent money. They spread it around, brought in a number of players. Then during the season, they promoted aggressively some 2022 draft picks, including Zach Neto. This is a team that has done everything possible to win. Now, if they fade this week and it's just not possible, then the pressure will mount on Moreno. But I don't see him necessarily doing this. And keep in mind, too, Shohei Ohtani is on a 58-homer pace. You've got the potential for a 60-homer season, a potential maybe even to break Aaron Judge's record. You're going to deprive your fans of that? I know he's a free agent. I know what he can bring, but you have to put yourself in the owner's head here. And I don't think he's going for this unless he absolutely has to. And frankly, by the end of the week, I don't know that he'll be in that mindset. Remember, they've got Trout coming back at some point. They've got Rendon at some point, perhaps coming back as well. So to me, it's going to be awfully difficult to see them as sellers. Now, Scott, what was the other team? I forgot.
Last team is the Red Sox.
Red Sox. Absolutely, I agree with you. They are clear buyers. They need pitching. They cannot pull the stunt that they pulled last year when they tried to do a little bit of everything, and it didn't work. It wasn't good. If they were going to sell Christian Vasquez, then they should have traded JD Martinez. It's as simple as that. And once you traded Vasquez, it sent this incredible mixed signal. I know they tried to pick up some players as well, but it was just ill-conceived. So, yes, it's not a great outlook for them. They're in a tough division, and it's a competitive wild card race for sure. But if you're the Boston Red Sox with your revenues and your resources, how do you take a step back at this point? You can't. You have to try to add, and I expect that they will.
Hey, Ken, I'm going to finish with you here. So my first question is, do you have your phone right next to you? Perfect. All right. So now, I don't want to know what the person said, but I'm curious to see the last baseball guy that hit you up just now. Like, can you give me initials? Can you give me a name? Who the last guy?
To tell you who spoke.
I
would say,
listen,
what about the text?
No, I don't want to hear the text.
You're going to put him in a.
He's not going to tell. I'm just curious. The last name you got in your last text or call that you've gotten recently.
Todd, there is zero chance I'm going to tell you that.
Come on, man.
Out of here, dude.
I need some
excitement. Hold on.
Let's go here. Scott wants excitement.
Let me explain this. Todd, I don't know that this happened many times when you were playing, but it might have happened a couple of times where you might have told me something and you said, hey, that stays here, or don't put my name on it, or whatever.
Never.
I'm not going to give up people. I would never give up people. If I start giving up people, then guess what? They stop talking to me, and I don't want them to stop talking to me.
I was just hoping for initials so I can just contemplate.
No, you're not getting initials. We're not playing eeny, meeny, mighty, mo here.
All right. Well, I tried.
I'm trying to teach him how the game works.
No, this is a whole new
You're
game
new
for
to
me,
this.
and
You're
I'm
on the other side now.
Well, guess what? I'm gonna keep tinkering. I'm gonna find something out. It's all right.
Yeah, he'll give you something. He'll give you
Well,
something.
I'll tell you what, Todd. Now we're talking. You find something out, then you ping me, and we're all right.
All right, there we go. Sounds good to me.
You trade some information.
We'll trade. We'll barter.
Okay.
I like bartering. I'm good with bartering.
Otherwise, you check Twitter, and he'll be posting stuff over the next week.
Thanks, Ken. I appreciate you, brother.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Ken. Talk soon, man.
Thanks.
Hey, let me get it. I might have gotten
I'm
him there.
backing up my boy.
Yeah,
You're
he's
not
not
getting
your
him.
boy. He's my boy now.
No.
Jesus.
Every Monday, Fair Territory is here for you with Ken. And, of course, next week's Fair Territory is going to be insane because it's going to be released like 24 hours before the trade deadline. So that will probably, I will guess, be the hottest episode that he's put out there the entire season. It's on YouTube right now, this week's ep, and Spotify and Apple. And yes, the chat is buzzing with questions. So what I'd like to do next is hit the hot corner, okay? And the hot corner is going to start with what?
I wanted initials, man, and you didn't let me get it in.
Dude, you're trying to.
I'm not
You
happy.
have a 0%
I'm not happy
chance.
right
You're
now,
trying to
okay?
out where Ken lives. You're trying to get.
That was earlier.
Yeah, you're trying to get
He
Ken
moved
like
on from that.
you're talking about the buttons on his shirt.
Let's go to hot corner because I'm not happy.
You're not getting anything.
It's
Ken
okay.
is an absolute legend.
I needed initials.
And I hope you never told him, hey, keep me off the record. I hope you didn't. I'm
Why
looking
would
at
I?
you
What,
right
what
now.
did I have to hide?
Todd says it with his chest.
I'm done.
Quote me, baby.
I'm done.
All right, so we've got questions flying all over the place here. So let's start with Justin. He said, any reason why Alden Gonzalez released an article yesterday, and he does a great job for ESPN about Nolan Arenado potentially waiving his no-trade clause to LA. Now, I didn't see that article yet, but I can tell you that Nolan's one of those guys, and just like Stanton has been for years too, they love that area. They're Southern California guys, right? Think that it would take a special case to get someone like Nolan to remove that no-trade clause because he basically took less money, I think, to stay in St. Louis. That team he would go to.
No
If
doubt.
I had to predict, if ready right now, I'm John Mozeliak. I call Nolan. He's chilling at the pool right now.
Bag's
Nolan-
already packed.
He's like, dude, you don't even have to say it. I know why you're calling. You never would call otherwise. I'm good. I got the PJ sending me to LA. I hope you guys got some good prospects. Best of luck. It's been a great run. Sucks that this season didn't work out. I'm going to the Dodgers. No doubt that would happen in a heartbeat. And this might be the time if you're LA, because you don't know what the Cardinals are going to look like next year. They're probably going to be better. They're probably going to contend again. If they're ever thinking about that, it's now. I just don't know if the Cardinals are trying to go that drastic. It seems to me like there's like 5 guys that they're going to be gone. No matter. I mean, they're all free agents. Flaherty, Hicks,
Monty.
who?
Montgomery.
Montgomery, Tyler O'Neill, who had a great knock late in the game yesterday to knock in 3 with freaking half the scouts in the league watching him. But Arenado and Goldschmidt is that next level. To me, it's Goldschmidt's the next level. Arenado's even after that because he's younger and under way more control. So how far do they want to go? Because that's almost rebuild status if you're getting rid of everybody like that.
100%.
I don't think they get rid of Goldie. I think Goldie resigns. I think Goldie is St. Louis. I think they're both absolute workhorses and just locked into baseball, almost baseball nerds. But I think you're right. Arenado, if the Dodgers, if the Rays, maybe. I mean, the Rays. I'm just trying to think of the best teams. If the Orioles come calling, they don't need anybody.
No.
I think he would go to the Phillies. I think he wants to go anywhere that is 100% into winning. If there's even like a half-year rebuild, I don't think he's sitting there going.
I think it's California or bust. Just because
He's not taking any other.
I don't think
I
so.
agree.
I just think he loves. He
loves to win. I know.
loves to win. He went
No
to
doubt.
St. Louis,
Yeah, well,
like
no,
to get out of Colorado.
He went to
Yeah.
St. Louis to get out of Colorado. Now that he's in St. Louis
Well, he
and he
wanted to
likes it
win.
much more than Colorado because the team actually has at least an iota of a plan, even though it didn't work out for them this year. LA is different. That starts to affect lifestyle where he's like, that's a spot where he probably wants to end up. That's where
$25 million
He
is probably
likes to
not
be.
enough to live there.
I just think Philly, that's very
boy.
different to talk him into.
I just think
For
he
Philly,
wants.
if
I
he-
just think he wants winners. I think he wants to go to a winner.
But the Cardinals might be a contender again next year. No?
I don't think
You
so.
don't see it?
They have a lot. They need 5 pieces in their rotation.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
lot. Like some teams are looking to like supplement their rotation.
No, they
They
They're gonna
need
lose a lot,
5
yeah.
pieces to their rotation. They don't have a starter that you can lean on.
Nope.
Michael
Ronnie,
is,
by the way, I'm going to keep flying him at you. Ronnie said Cronenworth needs to be traded to get Padres a pitcher. You know, we've gotten a lot of Cronenworth asks over
Yeah.
the past several days. Ken had one in fair territory that I listened to yesterday. Stop trying to trade Jake Cronenworth.
Yeah.
Why? Because his value is rock bottom right now. He's not getting traded. He just signed a deal for like $1 billion years, and he's having a super, super cold year. He's not getting traded right now.
No.
I would be shocked. Would you not be shocked if he gets traded out of all people?
super shot. Besides
You'd
some
have to
type of
pay down
salary
money, which
dump,
they're not doing that right now,
No.
and he might recover his value. Why are
He's
people
gonna
throwing
recover
that
it.
name out there?
they need to stop. They
He's
need to
not
stop
getting
that.
dealt.
If it was like a 5-year, if it was like a 7-year deal that it was 5 years in, maybe like, okay, we got to move on from Cronenworth. This is a brand new deal, and you're trying to trade. Oh, we're just going to trade Jake Cronenworth's 7-year, $80 million deal as he's got a 657 OPS. with 4 stolen bases, and he plays first base now. He's been playing first base for most of the year.
Ronnie's like, I love you, Ronnie. You're in here all the time. He's like, that's why we need to trade him. But let's make sure we're
Well,
clear.
somebody's got to take him.
We're going to
too.
be realistic here.
You're not
We're
going to
not
start
trading players that you don't want just because you don't want them anymore.
Yeah.
That doesn't work. It
No.
works if you want to buy down some money, but you can't do that on a deal like this. That's
Ronnie.
for a deal like, dude's got a year or 2 left, and I'll pay off some money to get some prospects. That kind of move does not happen. Yeah, Justin, 7 years, 80 for a first baseman with no power or average.
Listen,
It's
they
not
put me
happening this
into
year.
a trade when Chicago. I know I wasn't the main piece.
Yeah, with D-Rob.
Yeah, they threw me
and
in.
Tommy Kahnle.
I knew it was Canley and D-Rob, but guess what? I'll live to see a better day.
It
And
worked
that
out
could-
great for you.
Yeah, it did. It could work out for Crony.
Yeah. But he's not getting dealt.
Full
I'm
of
telling you,
baloney.
no freaking chance that he's getting dealt. Speaking of baloney, Bryce,
Don't say there's not a chance. I'm still pissed off about the Ken Rosenthal thing you did. But
you think that I led to that?
on.
Someone's got to stick up for Kenny Ballgame.
I did.
Bryce
Move on.
Bologna. Can you ask Ken? Well, Ken's gone, and we'll have him again later this week about the Rockies and if Ryan McMahon is on the trade block, perfect fit for the Yankees. So the Rockies still have like 5 or 6 more dudes to deal that are short term that we talked about yesterday, right? CJ Cron, Brad Hand. Who else did I mention?
Brent Suter.
Brent Suter for sure.
Grichuk.
for sure. So this is a 6-year, $70 million deal for McMahon, who I think is a little bit underrated. So I don't see it. I think I mean, you got to keep somebody.
Yeah.
That's a guy who's been a stalwart there. I think he still has another level offensively. He plays he's got a great glove, plays a great third.
No doubt.
I don't think that's happening.
No, and then you need
Maybe in the offseason, not midseason trade for me.
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't have that. I don't have that as something that is worth it. The guy's locked up till 27
On a
got
a pretty team-friendly deal,
yeah.
no?
on a decent deal.
They already got rid of Arenado too.
It's
so
the
like, all
same
right, let's
deal as
have this guy
Cronenworth.
chill out.
It's the same deal as Cronenworth, but McMahon has been a significantly better player this year.
And they have some guys that can play positions. You still have Chris Bryant, whether you think he's a player or not. He's versatile for him. You have Doyle in center. Tovar is showing he could be a guy. I don't think the Rockies we should have asked Ken about the Rockies, because the Rockies are, when your owner, I think it was the owner, came out and was like, I feel like we built a 500 ball club.
This year, right.
That's worse than that's worse than the Pirates being like, we're just not going to spend.
Yeah.
We're not going to spend. We're going to build for 3 years. We're going to rebuild. 500? You think we're going to just split every 4-game series and just finish the season? That couldn't be more of a blah answer, and almost angering to Colorado fans.
I agree.
But no, McMahon, he's staying.
Well, because he got
Good player,
smashed, I think it was the year before, for saying like they were going to maybe be good. And
That's
everyone's
okay.
like, no. Or just don't say anything, or, say we don't know what we're doing, we don't have a plan, or we're rebuilding.
That's okay to be positive. Why can't you say?
Yeah,
I
it's better
think
than
we're
being
going to be
negative.
good, and we're going to live this. We're going to live this lie, even if we're going to make you believe it. And if we don't make the playoffs, a bunch of people believed we were going to be good enough, and they gave it everything. We're going to be 500. I'll try today. Tomorrow, not so much. We got to win this series already. We're good. We're not going to continue.
I'm glad that we're at least talking about them, and a couple people mentioned Profar. That's the last name there. Yes, he's also on a 1-year deal. So, and Profar's had a decent year. He could
Standard Profar year.
A lot of
playing a
years.
I
number
never understand
number of
Jerickson
spots.
Profar.
Why?
I don't. What do you think his WAR is in his career? And I know you don't like WAR.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I would say 9.
5.
Okay.
He's a minus 1.1 WAR. And I know WAR is not the biggest
This
thing.
year?
He has a stolen base. He doesn't really – what does he give you? But he's got that name where it's like, Jerickson Profar. He's going to be a guy. He hit like 360 one year in the minor leagues at 20. And he's got almost 9 years in the show. He's getting his
He's been doing it for a while.
But he hasn't been doing anything for a while. He's a 707 OPS in his career. Like,
Well, he's not the home run hitter.
he's not a home run hitter. He plays a lot of positions. None of them are real great.
Right.
To
He plays a
me-
number of positions. He actually has stayed on the field because he had a ton of injury issues early in his career,
On a 1-year deal,
and he's streaky, and he's average. He's an average-ish player.
below average.
Below average player.
Below average player with an above average name.
Little League World Series champ.
And still
fair.
only 30. I've never understood, and this is the first time we brought up jerks and Profar. I've never understood the infatuation with
Spot
him.
filler. I mean, I don't know what else to put it.
Sure.
We're going to continue this combo, just so you know, in a sec. A team also that we want to make sure we give more coverage to is the Minnesota Twins. And we'll keep taking your trade questions. We'll bring them to our next writer, too. So keep those going in the chat right now. We're loving it. Obviously, I'm getting to as much as I can, and we'll try and do that much more frequently, especially over the next week. Like, bring it, okay? We'll put you in your place if we need to. I don't even want to put it that way. We will pump the brakes for you if need be. If you're getting a little too aggressive trying to trade away a player that you don't want, that no one else wants, we will help you out there, okay? Also, unrealistic trade offers. We can help on that front, too. We're not the best at it, but Ken Rosenthal is. So
I
he'll
like
help
those.
us.
I like the unrealistic.
Unrealistic
I like
trades?
unrealistic how, like you said yesterday, 11 teams all are getting Marcus Stroman.
Yeah.
Like he's only going to play for one.
Yes.
I'm gonna go against you, Scott. You're the chat guy. You really do good job on the chat. Send us your unrealistic trades because they're funny.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
They're like a
So
fart. They're
we'll
funny.
do that today. Okay, fine. You can mix in some unrealistic trades. Give me like a hashtag in there so I can pick them out, and we'll put them in slap hands at the end of the show. Okay?
Yes.
Hashtag unrealistic trades.
URT. Hashtag URT, and then put whatever it is. The other stuff, if you're real serious in serious mode, we'll handle that too. But hashtag URT, and we'll cover that. Okay? So a lot more questions to get to here on, I will call it a week to go until the trade deadline. Almost exactly a week now.
Yeah.
So Charlotte's Web Player Access is sponsored by Recreate. And right now they connect us with Bobby Nightengale, the Twins beat reporter for the Minneapolis Star-Tribune. It's been a minute. Bobby, I think we spoke like maybe it was the first week or so ever in foul territory history. And actually a lot has changed, and including what you're doing too.
Yeah, last time I talked to you guys, I was covering the Reds, and they were destined to be a last-place team. And I think we talked about how they might be able to avoid 100 losses. So, yeah, a lot's changed. Switched over to the Twins probably 6 weeks ago now. So missed all the Elly De La Cruz fun and America's team and everything that's been going on in Cincinnati, all those sold-out crowds. But been fun covering the Twins too. I mean, they since the All-Star break, they have the best record. So I guess finally I get to see some wins.
And you missed April in Minnesota. You switched over in May, correct?
Yeah, at the end of May. So as soon as the weather got normal.
I see what you did there. I like that.
Job
Smart.
offer, waiting on it, checks weather, and I'm in.
I'm ready. 72 degrees.
Very well played. All right, so let's talk through this because we admittedly haven't given the Twins, in my mind, enough love. Although at the same time, we definitely in the first half shit on the AL Central at times because you could take the top team, which was often Minnesota, and put them still at the bottom of the AL East. But now here comes Minnesota. You're right. They have the best record in the second half of the season. Back-to-back great walk-off wins for the ball club. We like Correa going to the top of the lineup, but let's get right to the trade conversation. So now that this team is creating a little bit of separation in the division, they're 4 games up. That's their tied for their largest lead of the season. Tell me what you want to see from Minnesota. Like, let's assume they make a push here because their pitching's good. What should they be looking to do? Areas of improvement, and if you've got some players in mind.
Yeah, I think right-handed hitter is probably on position player-wise, top of the list. Probably a right-handed hitting outfielder. They've been an underperforming offense for most of the season. They've been better in the second half since the All-Star break. But a lot of it, like Carlos Correa is having the worst offensive season of his career. He's been better as a leadoff guy. But they're going to need him to go on a tear if they're going to actually make, do damage in October. Byron Buxton's hitting around 190 as a full-time DH. So, that's kind of one of the big questions locally is, what are they going to do with Buxton? If he's not playing center and he's not hitting, what can you do with him? But, he's a guy who he's streaky at times. They need him to hit in the second half. Joey Gallo, another streaky type hitter, strikes out a ton, not going to hit for a ton of average, but gets on base and hits homers. So, they have guys that traditionally they can carry an offense for weeks at a time. I don't think they are planning to do a huge splash. I don't think you have to do a big splash. That you look at last year's trade deadline, they traded Tyler Mahle for Spencer Steer and Christian Encarnacion Strand to the Reds. And losing those two, I mean, both right-handed hitters. Steer's playing the outfield now, so I mean, he would have fit in, I think, pretty well on this team. So I mean, I think you look at, not that you're gun shy, not that you look at last year and you're like, wow, those trades didn't work out. Jorge Lopez they acquired from Baltimore, and they lost Yenier Cano, who made the All-Star team and a good pitching prospect in Double-A. So I mean, they had some bad trades when they went for it last year. I think that's got to be at least in the back of their mind this year, and saying we can't afford to kind of lose the future there. Losing 6 years of Spencer Steer and Christian Encarnacion Strand hurts a little bit, especially when Tyler Mahle's out for the season with Tommy John. So I think that affects it. And then, looking at the right-handed bats that are out there, maybe like a Tommy Pham, Elaine Thomas from the Washington Nationals. I think those are the type of hitters, guys who can hit lefties. I mean, they've been the worst hitting team against left-handed pitching this year. So guys that can lift that up and might be okay if they're in a playing time crunch and aren't playing every day, because there is some talent on this team, position player wise, that might force you to, look more for a fourth outfielder versus a guy that plans to be in the lineup every day. And then relievers. I mean, I think every team, every contender could use relievers.
So basically, you're just going to upgrade at every position, except for the Canadian crusher, Edouard Julien. What is it like seeing him play every day? And the Twins, I'm not saying it's because of him, but he is a huge reason they're in the position that they're in, especially getting this new 4-game lead that they have.
Oh, yeah, he's a huge part of it. I mean, as much a part of it as anybody. They moved Carlos Correa to the leadoff spot at the end of June. And since then, Julian's pretty much hit second behind him. And I think it's made Correa's kind of transition to leadoff easier. I mean, it's really the first time in his career he's ever done this for an extended amount of time. But being a guy who's like, okay, Correa, all you have to do is get on base. Julian's going to do a lot of damage, whether I don't think he has a ton of homers, like 5 or 6. But in July, he's hitting like 480. I mean, he's been unbelievable. Just a guy who, I mean, he hits to all fields, has surprising power for a guy who's a second baseman. And then he's not a great defender, so I mean, he has to hit at a high level. But it's something he's done since he played at Auburn. He's done it all in the minor leagues. That was kind of his billing out of Canada was, this guy can hit. Great eye. Kind of reminds me of like a second base version of Joey Votto, where good eye, can hit to all fields. A little bit less power than Joey, obviously, because of the position change, but kind of two Canadians who have a great awareness of the strike zone and can kind of lift the middle of an offense.
Hey, my question to you is, you talk about getting a right-handed bat. For one, is there a single guy that you think would come in and dominate in that position? Because for us, when we talk about it, there's not one that's like going to blow you away pretty much, but there's a couple good additions that you can go out there, maybe like a Grishik or some kind like that.
Yeah, I don't think there's a big guy out there. I mean, like Goldschmidt would be like the ultimate right-handed bat, but I mean, I don't think the Cardinals are going to make him available. And then also it'd be, I don't think the Twins are going to trade their entire farm system to try to get him for a year and a half. But I mean, I think you're right where you could get some fourth, Grichuk, Lane Thomas had a surprising season. I mean, maybe this is, part of a breakout for him now that he's finally getting real playing time. Tommy Pham with the Mets. I mean, I saw him last year with the Reds, really struggled with strikeouts, wasn't walking as much. He's really turned it around this year. I think everyone kind of questioned how he'd adjust to a fourth outfielder role where maybe he's not playing every day. And I think he's adapted to it really well, brings an edge, obviously. So, I mean, I think there's guys out there that if you get the right one could really upgrade the offense. Because, I mean, part of it, too, I mean, you have good right-handed hitters like Correa and Buxton. They just haven't hit to the level that they usually do. They have some complementary guys like Donovan Solano and Kyle Farmer, both right-handed hitters who traditionally have been great against lefties. Farmer's probably been worse against lefties this year than he has been in his career. So there are guys I think that if they step up, plus you add one guy in, I think that could change the kind of the narrative of the team against left-handed pitching.
You talk about narrative and you talk about the different needs of the team. Has there been a concerted effort, and maybe this is why the Twins may not do anything? Their OPS from June till today in July went up 100 points. They had an OPS of 680 as a team, and now it's up to 781. Has there been a concerted effort to improve that? Because they're still striking out at a ridiculous clip. They're walking some a little bit more, but has there been a concerted effort or a change in the team philosophy? And can this continue, or is it just a good month?
I think partially it's a good month. I mean, I saw like the batting average on balls in play went from like 290, the first 3 months of the season to like 350 this month. So I mean, they have been getting like more balls are dropping. But I mean, I also think there's been a concerted effort in terms of they got swept by Atlanta last month, and that was kind of like the turning point for something's got to change. And that's when Correa went to lead off. That for a short amount of time, they had players leading the hitters meetings instead of coaches. I think kind of trying to get out of the, here's the hitting report, here's the scouting report for the day. I'm going to tell you guys what to do. It's almost like, okay, you guys lead the way. So tell your teammates how you think you should do it, because what they were doing before wasn't working. I mean, they have too much firepower, in my opinion, to be one of the worst offenses, which they were for the first 3 months. So I think part of it's just turning around, and then also, I mean, like we mentioned, Edward Julian, he's had a great month. Alex Kirilloff, he missed the first couple months of the season recovering from wrist surgery. He's turned it around, and then Max Kepler, a guy who hasn't had a great season in a couple of years, but kind of showed in 2019 what his potential is, his peak. He's been having a good month with some guys behind him like Matt Wallner and Trevor Larnach. They're kind of pushing him, saying, okay, if you're not going to step up, we have some guys to give playing time to. And to Kepler's credit, he stepped up. So I mean, I think partially it's some stuff they changed, and also some, there's been some good luck this month.
You said they changed from coaches-led meetings to player-led meetings. Is this we know Carlos Correa is in everything. He was on the show at the beginning of the season. Is this a Carlos Correa thing? Is this a coaches trying to be the whole, like, well, players, what do you need and everything? Or was this was this a revolt?
I don't think it was a revolt, but I think it was one of those, what we're doing is not working, and kind of they have gone back to coaches leading the hitters meetings, as far as I know. This was like a 3-week thing. But I think part of it too was, I mean, you have guys like Correa and Buxton, and I remember Royce Lewis, he's hurt right now, but one of the rookies that was hitting well at the time before he got hurt, saying kind of like, it's different. I'm sure you guys can relate. I mean, just guys like Buxton says this guy's got extra cut on his fastball, and you might not see it on video, but when you hear it from a guy like Byron, who's faced him a ton of times and is a veteran, I'm going to believe him more. And I think player-to-player communication is something they wanted to. Every team wants to emphasize it, but I think it was one thing that they felt like was missing, was in terms of, okay, here's the scouting report, you guys do this. Now it's more hitters. Okay, you lead the way. You see what you like. Carlos Correa, like you guys mentioned, a great guy who's great at explaining things. Explain what you're seeing against this guy over the course of your career. And I think for the younger guys, that they said that was a huge adjustment in terms of things were able to click a little bit better.
And I'll finish with me. Is this team, whether they say they don't get anybody, say just a slow moving trade thing, does this team have the pieces right now to make a run in this playoffs?
I think because of the starting pitching, I think you at least have to give them a chance. It's a bad division. Both Centrals have been terrible this year. But I mean, if you're starting 3 in a playoff series, if you say Sonny Gray, Pablo Lopez, and Joe Ryan, and then you also have Kenta Maeda as a 4th. I think Bailey Ober too. He's got like an under 3 ERA. If you have those guys in a playoff rotation, I think you at least have to feel good about it. Now, obviously, their offense, they strike out so much. I think that's the big question. I mean, they almost remind me of like a 2019 style offense where it's almost all boom or bust. Can a team that strikes out 12 times a game, can they win in the playoffs? That'll be the big question. But I think with the starting pitching, if you get there, I think that's a scary matchup on paper. If you say, okay, Sonny Gray, Joe Ryan, Pablo Lopez, that's who you have to face the first 3 games.
Now, the Twins went after Correa, got him back again, signed him again. I feel like not a lot of people saw that. The Twins kind of have been shifting in that direction. Could they do something big and trade from that starting pitching depth? Because really, everybody wants more starting pitching. So that value is there. Could they give up one of those 4 guys that you mentioned going into the playoffs with 3 guys is really all you need, or you think there's no shot that they're going to ever let anybody touch their starting pitching?
That's been mentioned. I mean, like Maeda and Sonny Gray are both free agents at the end of the year, but I don't think they'll pull the trigger on that. One, I mean, you never can have too much pitching depth. I mean, you're only an injury or two from not having much pitching depth. And second, I think teams have to be, at least all teams have to be wary of like what happened in Milwaukee. First place team in a bad division last year. They felt like for sure they were going to make the playoffs. They trade Josh Hader. And then you kind of saw how the clubhouse collapsed. And even a year later, I mean, Milwaukee players, I mean, I heard them talking at this at this All-Star game. I mean, they're still like, that ruined our season. And so, I mean, when players, I mean, when they're pointing to it a year later, trading from a strength, I think that's kind of the case where, like, even though it's an area of strength, even though you'd probably get a ton back, I can't see the Twins pulling the trigger on that.
Do you think Twins fans are excited to see the Yankees struggling just because they won't have to face them potentially? Because the Yanks could grab, the Yanks grab that 6th spot.
And the Twins win their division.
The Twins are going to be in that 3rd spot.
Yep.
Most likely, right? So 3 against 6, you know what could be coming for the billionth time.
The fan base would be cringing pretty hard, but the Twins won the season series this year. So, I mean, I think that was the first time since 2001 or 2002, which is so hard to believe. I mean, a stat like that, I mean, I haven't beat the Yankees in a season, the 7 times they play them in almost 2 decades. So they did win the season series. So maybe that takes some ease away, but 18 straight playoff losses. That's on the mind of a lot of fans.
Was Judge in that 2nd series? Do you remember? Was Judge in that 2nd series with Twins Yankees?
I'm trying to remember.
Already?
I think he was.
He was?
I think he was.
I think he was.
Obviously, Rodon wasn't, but he's not pitching well. But whatever. No, it's going to get brought up if it starts to come around.
Yes, it will.
If the Yanks start to come around. So, Bobby, great to catch up with you. Congrats on the gig, and we'll talk again down the line and have fun watching this ball club, man.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Bobby Nightengale Jr., and definitely give him a follow and read what he's bringing to the table, too. You can see all of his work. I'll get you the Twitter handle in just a second here, too. But great insight on the Twins, in my mind, at a time when they should be talked about a lot more for what they've done in the second half of the season. I mean, they've been a very good ball club. You can see him in the Minneapolis Star-Tribune, but this team's been really good. And by the way, check out a chance to win a trip to the 2023 World Series. It's real. Recreate wants to send you to the World Series. You just follow hello_recreate on Instagram for more information. No purchase necessary. The sweepstakes end soon, July 31st. You got to be 18 plus to enter. For rules, visit charlottesweb.com/World Series. Recreate is the official CBD of Major League Baseball. You want to go to the World Series? Anybody?
Most definitely.
Let them send you.
Let
Recreate send you. Let us send you to the World Series.
Hello.
You don't even need to make any trades.
Exactly. There it is. By the way, and I got the Twitter handle. My computer was going slow. For Bobby, because some people don't confuse Bob.
You got a junior.
USA Today. Bobby Jr. Is at Nightengale Jr. At Nightengale JR to follow him for more Twins insight. So keep an eye on that. Also, by the way, we still have Paul Sewald coming up, and we're going to do our first interview with a perfect game player, one of the top prospects. But right now, let's hit our BetMGM locks for Tuesday. Nailed it. No sweat bet yesterday for me. Kratz went back to his bread and butter, picking strikeouts for his boys, Castillo and Maeda. Todd Father's getting so aggressive on us.
I was. I went through a spell. It happens.
No. This is you, Todd. Like
that's what I do.
Yeah, but these are risky locks. Can I?
No, you do it when you're up. You know what I mean? You take a little chance.
You're playing
This is
with
how
a little
Todd
house
lives.
money right now. Are you gonna? And there we are, still all up, all good.
I'm gonna
Look
bring
at
it back.
Kratzy.
Yeah, Kratzy solid.
Are you gonna
I'm
bring
gonna
it
bring
down
it back
a little bit?
No, I'm gonna bring it back to life. But I'm going big on this one.
Okay.
So I'm going the Reds Milwaukee game under 8 runs at -115. I'm going 460 to win 400.
Okay.
Burnsy's on the mound, Abbott on the mound, a lefty. They don't hit well. I mean, should have did it yesterday too, but it is what it is. So we'll see how it goes today, and I'm just going to take the under. I'm thinking of another 3-2 score. Eric?
I love that. Playing blackjack with Todd. He sits at the table, and when it's going well, the machine guns are coming out.
all in.
I mean, he's ready to go. I have same game. I'm probably going to pick on this game again tomorrow.
No, most definitely.
Two teams that are striking out galore, the Mariners and the Twins. I'm going to go Luis Castillo. I'm sorry, yesterday I had Luis Castillo. Today I'm going George Kirby versus the just aforementioned Pablo Lopez.
Oof.
So I'm getting 5 strikeouts from Georgie. I'm getting 7 from Pablo, but I added a little wrinkle in there. BetMGM has given us the opportunity to put a walk in. So this is what's going to get me up to, I think, plus 120. I'm going to get Pablo Lopez giving me 1 walk, plus 120.
Wow.
Okay.
He has walked 1 batter in every start this year or more, except 2.
I like that little wrinkle.
I like the little wrinkle. Join me in the wrinkle. I'm putting 300 down to win 360. Appreciation.
I'll tell that. For me, I'm going to Cleveland since they lost yesterday.
KC.
They let Todd Father down.
Yes,
I've
did.
seen this happen where they have one of those letdown games and then they smash you with their offense. So, and I know their offense isn't great, but they're going up against Greinke. I watched Greinke face them recently. It was either I think it was right before the All-Star break. And he actually pitched well. The Royals won that game, but he gave up 11 hits and walked a couple. So
I think he
they
had
just
0
didn't deliver.
strikeouts too.
I mean, was he 0
I
strikeouts?
think
that
it
was that game.
I think it was.
Yeah. So you've got that. Plus you've got Aaron Savali, who's actually been one of the more underrated pitchers this year. He's got an ERA somewhere in the 2s last time I checked. He faced the Royals just before the break, 7 scoreless, 2 hits, 9 punch-outs. He's striking guys out this year. You're going with Cleveland's bullpen top 5, KC's bullpen's bottom 5. Add it all up. Let me hit a run line at minus 105. Check that out. Plus, if you're new to the party on the BetMGM sports app on iOS or Android or at betmgm.com, enter that bonus code FOUL. FOUL is the bonus code to use. First bet offer, get up to $1,000 paid back in bonus bets if you do not win. So once you download the app and deposit in, you place that first offer, you receive up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if that bet loses. And if it does, your bet will be available once the wager's settled. Always bet responsibly. Gambling problem or concern, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And still to come on this show, Paul Sewald. A lot of people were asking Mariners questions, and we're like, we'll get to that because we're going to bring a player on, and he's one of our better interviews. He's a real talk dude. Paul Sewald's going to tell it like it is. We're going to ask him, like, what's going on in Seattle? I have questions. Like, one that we didn't bring up when we were chatting earlier, but Julio Rodriguez right now, if you go by OPS plus, 100s league average, he is below league average. We are 60-something% into the season.
Wow.
They worked him good at the All-Star break, too.
He's
He
gonna be
probably
exhausted.
slept for 3 hours the entire All-Star break, carrying the city of Seattle on his back for the Derby and making 9 billion appearances.
Didn't he have one at 6 a.m.?
Yeah.
Something crazy after the players'
They had him
party
doing stuff
that was
late, and then he had the 6 a.m.er.
Been there.
He was getting
I'm sure in Cincinnati.
Terrible. It was no. I shouldn't say it was terrible.
It's not terrible, but
Just getting up and understanding you went to bed at 4 that night, and you got to get up at 7, and then you got to do an All-Star game. It's
For when everyone else is getting days off.
Yeah, exactly.
Whew.
But I wouldn't have changed it for the world. I know you wouldn't.
No doubt. You're really blessed to be an all-star in your home city.
No doubt.
And Julio is everywhere out there. Everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
You land, you see him on the side of the airport. Your luggage has Julio stickers on it. Like,
No doubt.
you get to the stadium, all throughout the city, every bus stop. Some of the buses are T-Mobile buses, and it's just he is the city. And right now, it's not happening for him. But I'm always excited to talk to Paul.
let's dig, okay? In the weeds we go right now, and we'll get to more of your questions on the trade deadline. But first, just want to cover the Phillies for a moment. And the Orioles beating them 3-2. Another great game yesterday. Orioles did not have their top 2 relievers available. Cano's, we talked about this. Arm slots drop in. I think they're going to chill on him a little bit. Clear sign of some fatigue at this point in the year. And then Bautista, I think, had been used in like 4 of their last 5 games. So we knew from the jump, not available. It was a little shaky late, but they still get the job done. Well, I want to backtrack for a sec. Trey Turner, 0 for 3, 2 errors. He is now feeling it mentally. You can see it because he's solid. He makes all the plays he's supposed to make it short, and he wasn't doing that yesterday. He hasn't been doing that lately. He's slumping on defense, offense getting to his head. I do not think by any means this is the Trey Turner Phillies fans are going to see, But you can look at the difference between this year and last year. And if you look at the OPS plus and the WAR and all of that, it's even worse. But I mean, this year he's 247, 300 on base, 387 slug. I mean, the strikeout numbers are high. Those are the strikeout numbers now versus last year. And last year, that's a full season. This year, obviously, he's at 106 already. So he's feeling it. He doesn't like a borderline call, but it was close when you looked back. Kratzy, he gets tossed from the game for throwing his equipment, and he was giving it to the ump. I mean, he should have been tossed.
100%.
Yeah.
You're
I'm
just
holding back
listening.
what
No,
I'm a $300 million player. I'm okay. I mean, I know Phillies fans are pissed, but to me, we see this often. How often do you see a guy sign a big deal, starts up with a new ball club, first year he sucks, and then he's better?
the Phillies fans just saw it last year with Nick Castellanos.
Yes.
True.
He's an all-star this year. He hit like 260 with no juice. Castellanos had the big hit last night. If it wasn't for Schwarber not making a catch, I mean, it wasn't an error, but Schwarber not make that catch last night, Castellanos is the hero. And so better things are going to come. Talk the Philly fans out of worst contract ever, all that stuff. Stop it. The thing that's interesting to me, and Todd, you can attest this because you signed free agent deals. Some people sit there and go, oh, man, he's got $300 million coming to him.
Yep.
I'm good. But he's an elite player. The money he was going to get no matter what.
Sure.
So to me, why do I see, when I delve into his stats, this is crazy to me, his worst pitch that he would make any kind of contact on, homers, just damage. I consider it damage. Slugging, on base percentage for the last 5 years was slider cutter from lefties and for righties. This year, his number one damage pitch is sliders and cutters.
That doesn't make any sense.
I don't understand it.
No.
Curveballs the last 5 years, he's had a OPS of close to 850. This year, he has an OPS versus lefties on curveballs of .083.
Oh.
He has 1 hit on curveballs this year. What is, like, how is there a difference in your complete, you go to a new team and you have a hitting coach that goes, I need you to do this.
Yeah, we're going to change everything. I don't know, man.
Because Kevin Long had him in Washington.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's something going on there. I mean, like you said, that's a big concern too as well. I never hit off-speed pitches well, but he usually feasts on those off-speed pitches. To me, from what I've seen in the past, he's dominant. Another big concern for me though is the errors, and I think that's something that you got to be able to understand. All right, I'm struggling at the plate, but at the same time, I can't take that out in the field. And he's a really good defender. I love him there, and I love him as a shortstop. But he's solid. He's going to be okay, but at the same time, when you break down the numbers like that, it's kind of starting a little bit. Is he trying to swing at every curveball? Is he trying to hit everything out of the ballpark? I don't know.
Smaller field. Does it feel like I don't know what that feeling is like.
No, me neither.
Because he shouldn't come here and be like, wow, I got to carry this team. Because they have so much. I just think it's the new scenery. His chase rate is way bigger. And I think it's the opposite of you give some guys who are kind of grinding around in the league a little bit a contract. And they're like, oh, I can play now. A guy like this, he's like, I did great before. I'm going to be unbelievable now.
You just stay what you've been doing.
And the chase rate is the part that's weird to me. Like,
but that means he's trying. You know what I'm
He's
saying?
totally
We got to bring in our
trying.
guests. But I'm saying, like, I'd rather have that than there's some dudes that sign and then they're chilling. Okay, there's a lot of talk about that with like certain White Sox players where they're not playing, right? And you just don't feel like they're giving you their all. Trey is trying, probably over trying. I want that type of player. Just saying.
July 25th is the turnaround day for Trey Turner.
There you go. Let's bring in our next guest, big one here. Charlotte's Web Player Access, sponsored by Recreate, connecting us with Mariners super reliever Paul Sewald. You can see we're intense today, Paul. What's going on, dude?
We'll take Trey Turner in Seattle if nobody wants him.
Thank you.
That's tampering. You can't do that.
I'm sure he's got a no
Just
trade.
a thought.
But these people are freaking out after 80
Yeah.
games after him. We'll take him all day if he wants to move over here.
Thank you. Well, hey, and help me on this one. Have you seen a player sign a big deal with a ball club, like let's say your own, or come over and he's making good cash and he's trying to prove himself with his new team and the difficulties of that balance?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really difficult. It's a difficult situation where you get all this money and there's all this pressure, and for the first, it's just very different. And he had such equity in DC because he came up and was a superstar, and you could have slumps, and no one doubted it because it's Trey Turner. And when you start out and you have a 100 game stretch where you're not your best, and it's the first 100 games, I think people overreact. Especially when we're paying him this much, he should be this good. And I think they'll get plenty of their money's worth over the years. And he's just having a tough stretch right now. And we all go through it, and it's just really tough when it's the first 100. And I saw a little bit of that in Robbie last year. You come off your Cy Young season, and then you're the big guy, and you're the big free agent, and you're coming into a new team that has expectations. And once he kind of settled into, I don't have to be the Cy Young winner, I can just be myself. He really started to pick up and where he left off in 21. And I'm sure Trey will figure it out here in August.
So let's take it to, you're flying into Seattle airport and you see a picture of your teammate all over the place. Is he kind of going through that in his second year here with the pressure of being on every side of the bus and every bus stop and everything in the airport?
Yeah, a little bit. I think so. Julio's still putting in the exact same amount of work he was doing last year. He's not taking that off. He's not lazy. There's just a lot of extra distractions when you're the rookie of the year, and Gatorade wants you, and you got your own cereal, and Alaska Airlines wants you, and everybody is pulling towards you. Maybe you can get a tad distracted from what got you all these stuff. And, he's a 22-year-old kid. Think about where you guys were when you were 22. I was literally just signing, let alone getting, millions and millions of contracts from, all these sponsorships. And, he's just a kid, and he's going to be just fine. I think this will be a chapter in his 10-part document series when he's all done, that it's like, oh man, like I got away from myself and now I locked back in and I got back to the Hall of Fame career that I think I'm on.
I was in Medicine Hat, Alberta, playing in rookie ball after my 4 years of college. So yes, I know exactly what Julio's going through. No, I don't. But does he have somebody in the clubhouse that he can go to in a sense of like, I'm working through this? Or is there, do you see people around him that are able to help him with that? Or is it just like, hey, you stay the course and you'll figure it out?
No. Gino and Teo have been unbelievable for him, and it's all good. Everyone is all on the same team, and it definitely helps when you have that Latin leadership that those guys can provide for him. These are guys that have been in the league for 6-8 years, and they've had plenty of stretches where they've been great or not so great. And, Gino's been through that big contract situation, and those guys have been great for him. They have their conversations. I don't know what they're saying, obviously, but I know they're talking about stuff all the time. And those guys are always there, kind of gathering together, talking about the game after, win or loss, just kind of going over their at-bats and what happened. And yeah, those guys have been great for him. And he's going to be fine. Everyone knows that Julio's going to be fine. This is just, like you said, it's just a stretch where he hasn't been, Superman. And, it's tough when everyone expects you to be Superman because you have been in the past. It's a little bit unfair, but he'll be just fine.
Talking about somebody to help you out a little bit, Jared Kelenic the other day, kicking his foot, breaking his foot after frustration. Is there somebody he talks to, or you guys just let that go? Is there something talked about in the clubhouse? I know he talked to you guys, but at the same time, you let your team down. Is there what's the whole situation over there after that all transformed?
Nobody needs to talk to Jared about anything. He feels as bad as you can possibly feel. He knows he let the team down. It's an accident. We all wish that he could have kicked it and glanced off and nothing would have happened to his foot. And, but hopefully he's a young kid too. He's 23. He's going to have a 10-year career ahead of him. Hopefully this is a learning experience as to not put so much pressure on any single at bat. Let's just, even out our roller coaster of emotions a little bit. And he's done a better job of that this year. That's why it's really disappointing that this happened, because he's been better at that this year, whether he's been, obviously he's had more success, but he's been better in this flattening out of the roller coaster of emotions. And just a really, really tough break, and really disappointed for him. And, you can just see it in his face. Everyone who saw that interview of him getting emotional just understood that he understood what he did, and it was a mistake. And hopefully he learns from that, and hopefully we have some other guys on the team that understand that. All of us get frustrated. I've done plenty of glove throwing and have not kicked the cooler, but I probably won't now. But we could all learn to manage our emotions, and maybe hopefully that'll help us down the road, because we'll take that in context.
Last time you were on, Scott wasn't on here, and you really filled out the shirt we sent you, and you looked tremendous. Today, you're wearing, I'm not sure if it's, you went golfing this morning.
Little Camargo Club in Cincinnati.
Okay, can we all golf for free there?
No, I got a little invite, and I don't know if I'm getting another invite. Great place, though.
Okay. But I'm really, since we're talking about shirts, I want to talk about the jerseys that they were selling in your shop in the stadium, the team that you're playing against.
Yeah, look at that. That's that was tough, man. I just, that was frustrating. That was really frustrating. And, got a little backlash. I got a lot of backlash from Jays fans. I don't really know why I got backlash from them. That wasn't a shot at Jays fans. They took it as so, and that's disappointing. JP and I were both frustrated that our team would try and capitalize on the fact that we were going to have 2/3 Jays fans for the series. And, it's just part of it. I totally understand. Vancouver is a lot closer to Seattle than it is to Toronto. And if you're a Vancouver, Blue Jays fan, that's your easy opportunity to come down and see your team. I totally understand it. I don't have a problem with that at all. There's this thing called the internet. If you really want gear, you could order it and have it sent to your house in literally no time. So you could do that. You don't have to get it from our team store. I was disappointed that we tried to capitalize on that situation. And, I felt good that they took it down, and, we kind of got back to normal and won the series, most importantly.
Does that feel like not everybody's pushing in the same direction, or is it kind of one of those things where it's like it was somebody that was doing it up in the concourse that works for Aramark or whoever puts that stuff out?
No, from the top down, everyone's plan is for the Seattle Mariners to be the best possible team we can be. That's not a some people going this way. That's not what it is. It's just somebody didn't think it through and try to capitalize and just did it. And, they said later that it was left over from the All-Star game stuff, which, totally understand. I didn't see any Tiger stuff and Twin stuff in the first part, so it's kind of like, I get it, but like, it was out of touch, I thought. And I just wanted to, express the team's frustration that, hey, we're all in this together. We are giving it everything we have. Let's make sure that, we're all on the same page. And I think we are. It was an accident that, it happens, and we got it fixed.
All right, Paul, you know me, I'm a big trivia guy. Just kidding. But I want to give you a trivia question right now. You ready?
All right.
Real simple. Jerry Dipoto, where's Jerry Dipoto born and raised?
Oh, man.
Come on. Think about it.
New Jersey guy?
Toms River, New Jersey. All right. So now you know
he's
something
a
about
Toms
him.
River guy.
He's from Toms River. He went to the high school right down the street here. He was drafted and all. He played for
I didn't know
people
years. That from Toms River didn't say that they were from Toms River the second they introduced themselves.
He doesn't.
You're the only person I've ever met. That was the first thing I ever heard from you.
He doesn't claim it. He hasn't claimed it for a long time.
He wasn't the little league star you were. He can't claim it like you can.
Exactly. Exactly. Toms River guy through and through.
Okay.
But now my question to you, since now you have a talking point, have you looked at him walking down the hallways? Are you catching eyes with him now, especially with these deadlines coming around?
Yeah. Haven't seen a lot of Jerry and Justin lately. I think that's okay with me. It's tough. I've really enjoyed my 3 years here in Seattle, and it's tough that we're in a situation where we could be on the fence of buyers, sellers, and this isn't my first season. I'm not stupid. I understand how the system works, and I understand that relievers are a hot commodity on July 31st and August 1st, and I guess we'll just see. I know I'm excited to be done with next week. It's a little bit taxing trying to figure out if I'm going to be in Seattle in a couple weeks, and so whatever happens will happen, and we'll see. But yeah, it's been a wild couple weeks thinking about it.
What happens if the Mets come calling you?
Man,
that's cruel.
No, I love it, bro. Hey,
yeah. All right.
You have to give one of these if it comes around.
Man, the fans would be super excited to see me if I get called back there.
Well, Paul, with this ball club, what do you think is the one thing that's been a letdown or a surprise where you're like, damn, I really thought we would do this, right? Because like you look at last year's team, they made the playoffs. Sure, did I want to see a little bit more in the offseason? Yes, but they definitely made some moves, right, to improve the offense, and it just hasn't worked out so far.
Yeah, it's hard to pinpoint exactly one thing. If you really think about it, we preach trying to get 1% better every single day, and instead of getting 1% better, I feel like our team's gotten 1% worse this year than we were last year. No one is just blowing the season. It just is like not everyone is performing up to their capabilities all at the same time, and it's not anybody's fault. It just is one of those things where we're just not playing as well as everyone thought we were going to, and as well as frankly, everyone knows that we can. That's kind of just been it. If we score 9, we give up 10. If we only give up 1, it's the day we face a Cy Young candidate and give up 0. It just has not worked out the way we had hoped. And yesterday was just a perfect example. We're struggling to score, then we do score, and then the bullpen has been great, and then the bullpen doesn't really hold on to it. It's been somebody's fault every night. It's just been somebody's different fault every night, and it's just one of those things where we just haven't put together really good stretches for 2, 3, 4 weeks, and it sucks. We went 7-2 going into the break, and then we have a break and come out cold, just like we did kind of last year, following that 14-game win streak. And we gotta stop getting hot right before the break. We gotta get hot afterwards, and we still have plenty of time. It just is it could be dwindling, and who knows what we're gonna do in the next 6 days, and we'll see. But we're gonna keep battling. We're gonna keep battling, and whatever happens. We're gonna finish the season strong no matter what.
How far out is too far out for a team to be like not trading? Because you guys aren't involved in the trades. You guys just get traded. It's not like Jerry's like, hey, Paul, would you like to go here? I'm not saying that. I'm saying how far out is it like, dang, like we can't make this up. How far out is too far out? Yeah,
that's a really good question. I'm not sure. I remember when I think about that, I think about 2 years ago, we lost a series to Boston in mid-September and had, what do we have, like 15 games left, and we were 4 back. And we went, what did we go? We went 11-4 and finished 1 game back. So, I mean, that was September 15th. We're hoping to not, really wait till September 15th to really turn it on. But that's all it really takes is a really good 2 weeks where you go, 12-2 or 12-3, and, a couple teams really go 7-7 or 8-7, and you can make up 5 games in a 2 week span. So we're not out of it by any means. It just feels like we just have to really start winning series. You got to win 2 out of 3, got to win 2 out of 3, got to win 2 out of 3. And, going to September, maybe with like 2 or 3 games, you'd feel really good about like, we're very much in this.
Hey, Paul, let's do a positive spin on a few things here from some fan questions and comments. So first off, I'll read what Toasty said, who's one of our regulars. Paul has pitched 4 of the last 5 days. Got to respect that. Is that true? And how many days can you go until you'd probably say to the pitching staff, like, I might need one? I know it's hard for someone like you to be like, yeah, I'm down today. But I mean, is this the most that you've done? Have you done 5 out of 6?
I'm not sure I've done 5 out of 6. Yesterday was 5 pitches. So that will definitely help in the fact that, I'll go to the field here and try and make sure I can do everything I can to be available. 6 out of 9 has been tough. We're just in a situation our starters have had trouble going, 6 and 7. And, we've had a lot of bullpen time, and, you go extras, and we've been playing at home. So we've had 9 innings every time. And we're going to try and get back out there today. And, I will, if I pitch today, I probably won't pitch tomorrow to make it 4 in a row. But, you just try and give everything you can. And we have an amazing training staff that does everything they can to make sure that you're on the field. And I'm really thankful for them. And I'm going to go see them here in a little bit and do everything I can to make sure that I'm ready, for that 6:40 game if they call my name.
Christian has a question. Paul, how much does Mariners pitching development differ from other organizations as they've helped you and seemingly 3 to 5 other guys become great every year? And I'll add to this. I thought one of our more interesting combos we had last week with Tyler Glasnow was about how beyond what the Rays helped him with and focusing on his strengths and switching what he was, as a pitcher was the actual culture style, which we try and push here. I get it. It's not all about that, but he basically said that the Pirates were like military status with him and the Rays were the complete opposite from what he's even heard from teams that are in the middle. He's like, he goes to Tampa Bay and they're like, do you, man? What do you need to do? Like, let's just chill. Let's have a good time. So that was wild to go through that. What have you experienced?
Very similar to Tyler. I mean, everyone knew Tyler's capabilities when we were in the minor leagues, and then he just wasn't really pitching the way he should be in Pittsburgh. And then he gets over to Tampa, and he's the superstar that we all kind of figured he was as we were coming up. And it, sometimes the grass isn't always greener on the other side, but sometimes you get into a new situation and you get some new people looking at you, and you get some new ideas, and you try them and they work, and all of a sudden you have a new sense of confidence that you didn't have. And that's really what I got there. And I wasn't told to throw the ball up in the zone. I wasn't told to just sweep the slider. And those were two major things that changed who I am as a pitcher. And I would have pitched better in New York, I think, if I had those. But I didn't. And they give these ideas and they really take off. And about the culture thing, I just think, I don't like that they say this, but like, I really am such a great like story of how the Mariners can take somebody who's frankly not very good in New York and turn them into a way above average pitcher with 10 minutes of time just talking about what they can do differently. And I think a couple of guys over the last couple of years have felt confident coming to Seattle, knowing that like it really worked for Paul, it's really worked for a couple guys. Like, I'm going to listen to what they have to say, and I'm going to dive into it in spring training, and hopefully it works for me. And we've had quite a few guys that have had the same sort of success of like, they know what they're talking about. I'm gonna go into it, because a lot of that is like, I don't know, they're saying do this, but like I've always done this, and you're kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and you got to figure out like, what am I going to do? I felt like I was in a position where I had nothing to lose. Why don't I try throwing the ball up in the zone? And it turned me in a 180 of my career. So I do think we have that sense around the league that, hey, if you come to Seattle, they're going to have a couple ideas, and if you try them, more than likely they're going to help you become a better pitcher.
Is anybody in your family sitting there bugging you about the trade deadline and like stop? Like, you don't even answer their texts anymore.
Can I just preface that Paul's not getting traded? He's under team control through 2025. Why would they trade him?
Okay, because Jerry Dipoto is an absolute menace.
I know, that's true. Right, Jerry's a little bit of an
through 24, Scott. So it's
shoot,
this year and then next year.
Okay.
Oh.
Only two.
Got him.
Yeah.
Only two.
No one's been bothering me. I talk to my dad every once in a while. He kind of like, he likes to play GM from his couch in Vegas. So that's an interesting approach. No one's really been bothering me like this. It just is, it's obvious that my name is in those conversations. And my wife and I are just, we're just trying to figure out if we're going to be in Seattle or we're going to be somewhere else. We'll figure it out as we go.
There you go. You feel well. Do you have any advice?
Yeah, I never really moved that many times, so I wouldn't know. But my wife,
many? Tell him. Has he? I know you've said this on our show, but does he know?
No, 94 times. 94 times of a month or more. So my wife, if your wife needs some advice on packing up,
wow,
she's the girl. Like, she just shoot her a text. She'll be like, what you need to do is you need to get the tote mates from Costco. We're going to alphabetize all the kids' stuff. You're going to throw away and what is it called? Facebook all the furniture, Facebook Marketplace. So you'll be in Tampa in no time. They'll figure out your pitching. Your wife will enjoy the sun. You guys will stay in St. Pete Beach for the month and a half. We've already figured it out for you. Jerry just texted me. It's all done.
Tampa. Okay. All right. Well, cool. My phone's ready. I'm ready. Cool. We'll see what Jerry and Justin have up their sleeve.
Hey, I want to finish with this because his name's been talked about so much and wanted to get your take. I mean, the Angels are in this like weird spot where they're kind of close to a wild card, but their schedule is brutal coming up. I mean, I'll just tell you, like, I know you don't want to necessarily trash the team and you've played against them, but like, I don't think they're a playoff team. And their fans have gone through a lot. Like, can you imagine you're rooting for a ball club? They've got the generational player. Then they get the next generational player. They don't even sniff the playoffs. This year, like, they're a little closer than usual. So what do you think I mean, I'm not going to say like, what would you do if you're the Angels, but what do you think someone like Ohtani is going through right now, where forget what he does on the field, no one can relate to that, but like going through free agency coming up, you're more talked about than anyone. Everyone's pulling at you. Oh, and you might be traded.
Yeah. I don't envy his situation. Obviously there's part of it, his contract situation come this offseason will be envious, but like he's got a really difficult situation that he has going through, like exactly how am I going to get traded? Am I not going to get traded? Where are we moving to? I know, he said multiple times, I really want to be on a winner. You saw that fire when he hit that homer off the King. Like you could see he wants to do it in Anaheim, but I know he thinks that it's not going to happen in Anaheim. So he, would he prefer to go somewhere for 2 months and try and win and then figure out the contract situation? Or would he rather kind of just worry about this free agency, which would be the craziest of all time? I don't know what he's going through. And it is crazy. I know you didn't ask me if I were the Angels, I would probably trade him and get the kind of pieces you can get to try and, spring into next year. But obviously they're not asking me, and I'm not Arnie Moreno, so I'm not in charge of the team, and they'll do what they're going to do. And if I'm going to be with Seattle, I would prefer him to be out of Anaheim for the next 7 games.
That's fair.
Sure.
True.
So if I'm staying, then I would prefer him to go, and that will give us a lot better chance of beating them in our games as we play them a couple times.
Hey, you're not the only one. I mean, we had Mookie Betts on Friday, and he was like, they have to trade him. He was like, how are they not trading this guy? Just more talking about it from a fan perspective of, we see this in our game today. If a player is leaving you, right, and it's pretty much certain, you need to get something back for your fan base to look forward to in the future, and not think as an owner, I don't want to be the guy that traded this player away for 2 months and he hit 60 home runs. But like, do you want to be the guy that gives your fan base another 5 to 7 years of bad baseball?
But is Arnie Moreno trying to sell the team like he was last year? There's your like,
right.
I don't.
Yeah.
It's not my team. It's not my decision. I have never made business decisions like he has. That's a business decision that, if he's trying to sell the team in a couple of months, your best stock is with Shohei there for the last 2 months as people try and follow. He's going to hit 60. If he hits 60, 61, 62, 63 at home, you'll have people lined up at the door. There'll be 80,000 people. There'll be people sitting on the rocks, for goodness sakes. So, I don't envy anybody in that situation trying to figure out what they're going to do. I feel bad for everybody. I feel bad for everybody. It's a tough decision. It's a no-win situation, and those are disappointing, unfortunately.
No, you're right. And also, yeah, like if you're trying to sell a team, you want to make the most money possible. You're making more money if he's still on your team for the rest of the season. So yeah, it is like a whole web of conflict going on there, which glad we get to just talk about it for fun.
Yes. Much better to be in these seats just playing GM than actually being the GM right now. That's for sure.
It's fun. We spend so much money of everyone else's money every day on the show, which is great because it's not ours. So
The best.
Hey, Paul,
That's
great
the best
catching
way
up,
to play
dude.
GM is with an unlimited budget.
Exactly. Yes. We don't have to worry about any of that stuff. We just talk and there are no repercussions. So we just pop up the next day. Paul, dude, as always, so awesome catching up with you, man. Appreciate it. And we'll catch you in a few weeks.
Love it, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Paul Sewald, super reliever, Seattle Mariners with us. And want to remind everyone your chance to win a trip to the World Series. I was about to say to win the World Series. Well, you're not going to win it, but you could be there.
When they win it.
Right. Recreate, the official CBD of MLB, wants to send you to the 2023 World Series. Follow hello_recreate on IG. Post a photo in your favorite baseball gear using the hashtag Live, Play, Recreate, along with the hashtag RC Sweepstakes. No purchase necessary. Sweepstakes ends July 31st. That's soon. And it's open to legal residents of the 50 U.S. states and D.C., age 18 plus. For rules, visit charlottesweb.com/World Series. Recreate, the official CBD of Major League Baseball. And I am loving the action in the chat today. Questions, both real and not that real, about moves that people want to see. Hashtag URT has been used frequently for unrealistic trades, for you to just get something off your chest. If you feel like it's fake and you want to talk about it, that's fine. On the real question side, I'll bring up a few here while we have a sec. D-Rod said, which outfielder does St. Louis trade? Definitely Tyler O'Neill. 1,000%. What happened earlier in the year in my mind was kind of weird. Like like clearly there's a separation there between him
Disconnect,
and
yeah.
coaching staff and
A
all that.
discussion had been had before that. Yes.
Yeah. So I like the player. I think he's going to help a team. I think that's a good buy low. I think Dylan Carlson could get dealt. I think the Cardinals also are really struggling right now behind the scenes to be like, who do we deal? Because we've had a lot of failure with dealing the wrong outfielders away and them turning into stars. So
And pitchers.
which ones should we be keeping? And pitchers?
Especially, I mean, the pitchers that they've dealt away have turned out pretty decent. And
Well, look at the outfielders, dude. Like that's a Rosarena and
Bader
Adolis Garcia.
He's doing better.
Bader, even Lane Thomas leaves and he's good.
If I were to encourage
They
the
have some
Cardinals
studs.
on anything, don't get rid of guys who might not necessarily fit your Cardinal way mold.
Your mold, yeah.
Like, just because Tyler O'Neill might – like, I feel like the whole thing early in the year was kind of like, did he kick back against something? Did
Yeah,
he
I don't
say
know.
something? Obviously all hypothetical, but we heard from Zach Gallen how he kind of wasn't a guy that, like, he didn't quite do what they said. He wasn't a yes man. He gone. And, you know, they kind of have to make this right. But they also have to figure out who is going to play what position for them next year, because they got second basemen and center, and supposedly they have a dearth of outfielders. And then they're like, well, the one person we're going to keep is Newt Barr. And I'm kind of like, you don't have to explain to me why, but they have to figure out what their lineup is going to be next year and then trade from there.
Mm-hmm. I also think the Cardinal way stuff can get a little crazy at times. And the Zach Gallen story, just Google Zach Gallen foul territory on YouTube, blew my mind when he went over for like 15 minutes, the Cardinal situation and how he essentially felt like him not kind of faking it to show up to some random voluntary
Because
camp.
he was getting his work in.
Because he was getting his work
Yeah.
in. Not like showing face, almost not playing the political game behind the scenes to be like, hey guys, I'm here, part of that Cardinal way. He's like, I just want to get better. And then they took it the wrong way. And he felt like that kind of moved him down their line of, oh yeah, when teams want to make a deal with us, we'll include him on that list and not put him on the we must protect at all costs list. Massive mistake. That's why it's like, dude, everyone's different. Was he breaking rules left and right? Doesn't seem like that kind of guy. So I think they need to do a hard check on who they're keeping, who they're not keeping. So Bruce goes, Tyler O'Neill for Marco Gonzalez. That was the original deal, wasn't it? It was.
I think
O'Neill.
so, yeah.
It was. I don't know if there were other players involved, but that was the original.
You
deal.
won't.
So I love it. And then, yes, the unrealistic trades, I think we'll get to in a sec because we have our last guest of the day. Is he ready? Give me a yes or a no. Anyone? Yes?
I think he's ready to rock.
He's ready.
Oh, baby.
I didn't get the official yes, but now I got it. Okay. It is time for the debut of the Perfect Game Player of the Week, powered by Launch Hydrate. Caleb Bonamer will be a senior shortstop and third baseman. He's on the left side of the infield this year at Okemos High School in Michigan. He's the top-ranked PG player in Michigan. He was a second-team Perfect Game High School All-American this season, Michigan Gatorade Player of the Year after posting a solid .538 batting average, OPS at 1143, 12 homers, 45 RBIs, currently committed to the University of Virginia. Caleb joins us right now on FT Live. Caleb, how you doing? Have a summer, man. Why don't you?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
So tell me, what's been the best part of your summer so far? And I have a guess of the moment, but I want to hear it from you.
Yeah, so far it's probably been the PG National Showcase. I say I did pretty well there. Hit a few homers, put up some good numbers. So I say that was probably the best moment of my summer so far.
So what is a pretty good moment? So because fans, not everybody knows what I have a 16-year-old boy that plays PG tournaments and hasn't done any of the showcases yet. What is a good moment for you after you had just an absolute epic high school season?
Yeah, I had a pretty good high school season. But to be able to do what I did at PG National on that type of stage, I guess, against the best against competition in the country and in front of all the scouts and PG guys, I don't really see how it could get any better than that. And there was definitely a lot of social media attention that came with it after, but it was all pretty cool and pretty fun.
Yeah, it says you play a little third base too as well. For me, you got that good makeup as a shortstop, man. So what do you do? You prefer one over the other or no?
Yeah, I like to play short mainly. I mean, I've heard some people say that I might move to third as I get farther along in my career, but I'd like to stay at shortstop as long as I can. I just enjoy playing short more.
Let me ask you this: when did your first official time like playing for PG? Like how old were you? Because I got a 9-year-old right now. We're actually going to start doing perfect. He laughed at me because he's like, "You guys are crazy." But there's perfect game tournaments going on all over the place as early as 7 years old. Like when was the first time you started playing?
Yeah, I think my first PG event was probably 12 or 13U. But I mean, I was playing travel ball ever since like 10, 11U. But I think my first PG event was probably 12U. But yeah, I mean, I was playing like USSSA tournaments and stuff like that way before PG.
All right, so you're going into your senior year now. What would be like? You were obviously working up towards that national showcase. You balled out. You did awesome. You're a 9.5 on the PG scale. What would be a quality senior season for you? Do you want to get drafted, or you want to go to beautiful Charlottesville in the Shenandoah Valley and have an absolute epic time in Virginia?
Yeah, I mean, if the right opportunity comes with the draft if the right opportunity comes with the draft, I definitely be something that I'd be interested in taking because, I mean, playing professional baseball has obviously been a dream of mine for as long as I can remember. But if that doesn't work out, like you said, going to play baseball at Virginia is just as good as an option as playing professional baseball. So either way, I think I've got a great option. But I've always wanted to play professional baseball, so to be able to do that would be pretty special.
Who's your team? Who's your big league team that you cheer for?
I've always been a Red Sox guy, even though I'm from Michigan. But I was a Mookie Betts fan for a while, so I kind of just stuck with the Red Sox.
So it says here on your website, on your PG site, and you got to tell me if this is true or not. Look, you've already got your scholarship. I know you're a good player. You balled out. It says you ran a 6.35 60. And Mookie Betts is your favorite player, and you're 6 foot, 6'1"?
Yeah, 6 foot, 6'1". Yeah.
Okay.
6'1".
Like,
yeah.
Did you really run a 6.35? Let's be honest. Come on, you were rolling.
I mean, I was around 6'5" over the winter, so I mean, yeah, I don't know. I guess I ran 6.35. I mean, I'll take it. I mean, I was hoping for around a 6'4" or 6'5", but I guess 6.35. I'll take that.
Absolutely.
Hell
You
yeah.
You worked for it. You worked for it.
Yeah,
You
no
got
doubt.
that extra. That's rolling.
Also, Caleb, how old are you?
17.
He's 17.
Yeah,
so
he
he's
can
going to
move.
grow
Crazy.
more. He's going to get faster. I have a couple for you. So first off, do you have a nickname?
I don't know. A lot of kids at home call me CB2 because CB, my initials, and my number 2. But I don't know. People call me Bones a lot. My last name is Bonamer.
There you go. That's what we were
Yeah.
thinking.
So there's a dude that played like ages ago, like back, I think his last year was like in the late 90s.
With Griffey.
His name is Jay Buhner, and he
Yeah.
had, was it Bone or Bones?
Boom. I think it was.
It was one of those, okay?
Bone,
Even it's
Bone,
hard for me to
Bone,
remember, Caleb.
Bone.
I mean, I'm much older than you, but Bones, okay? So
Yeah.
I think there's been enough time that has passed that you can take that honor, okay?
All right.
Also, I wanted to know about playing ball in Michigan because no matter what, obviously you're going to have half the year where it's cold as hell and
Yep.
you've either got to play inside or you hop around to tournaments. So I figured that having the chance, for example, to participate in perfect game tournaments helps a lot on that front because scouts are always trying to knock guys in my mind in the past being like, oh, but he's a Michigan guy. He hasn't faced that competition or he's not playing year round. What's your response to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we got great baseball up here in Michigan. Like you said, we compete with the best at all the PG events. Even though it gets a little bit colder here in the winter, we still got great places to train and work out. And when it finally comes to spring and summertime, we compete with the best down south. So, yeah, I think up here in Michigan and up north, we got some of the best talent in the country.
I love playing it because it's a fun game that we used to play in the minor leagues. Who's your player comp? Who do you think, or who you try to emulate? You said you like Mookie Betts,
Yeah.
but who's your player comp? Because he doesn't play shortstop. Oh, he probably could.
I don't know. As a hitter, I mean, I kind of try to take a few things from Trout, even though I don't play outfield. But I just love the way Trout plays the game and love the way he swings the bat. He's got a pretty simple swing, and I try to keep my swing pretty simple. But, I mean, I like guys like Tatis and Jeter when Tatis was a shortstop. But Jeter, he's a guy who I like to model my game after. Leader on the field, great shortstop. He's a winner. Yeah, I'd say in the game right now, I think Trout is one of my top guys.
Hey, Caleb, awesome talking to you, man. Congratulations on having a monster summer so far. Keep that up, dude, and we'll hope to talk to you down the line.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Caleb Bonamer, great combo, and want to remind everyone, you can use that QR code on the screen. I love the art. Those colors are right up my alley.
Yeah.
Enter the claim code 20FOUL launch to get 20% off all 4 flavors of Launch Hydrate. Bring us on the screen a little bit here too.
And they taste delicious.
Very good.
There it is, baby. A little orange and blue action. Actually, this would look real nice, like on a uni for
the Mets.
The Mets.
The Mets.
Yeah, it's got like a little more pop to it than the Mets colors does. You know, like it's nicer. So
I'm on this.
this
I like
is
it.
orange.
I got the tropical. Tropical is smacking.
All right, I have to try that one next.
There you go, baby. Let's slap hands. Beautiful. All right, so Kratz hats, what do you got for us?
Well, I mean, the guy was on. My guy T. Frazier, he was wearing his USA hat. My guy T. Frazier wouldn't have had his opportunity to be a Olympian if I hadn't worn this hat in the Premier 12. And I was technically, I was all-world team. I mean, they voted for it. I was on it. So you're welcome.
Technically all world.
Yeah. It's not even. It's literally, not technically.
Incredible. Okay. I want to finish with this. I have one real and then the fake stuff. Okay. MC said, because we had so many great questions today. We'll keep this running. I know people were feeling it in the chat. Who's the surprise guy that gets traded? We all have guys we expect, but what about a surprise? Pete Alonso, Nolan Arenado, Goldschmidt. Alonso's not getting traded.
Nope.
No chance. For me, I know you were against it, but I could see Goldie maybe more than Arenado, but I don't know. Other names that are surprise names that could get dealt. Why don't we pocket that one and we'll think about it, and I'll bring it up again for the next show because it's hard to just blitz me with that one. I want to make sure I do some homework on it. And then lastly, hashtag URT was used in the chat. Unrealistic trades. You want to hear a few?
I'm here for it.
Okay. Christian said Julio Rodriguez for Luis Robert and Dylan Cease.
Ooh.
That is just wild on so many fronts.
Love it, though.
Ari. Oh, and then some did ones where it's just like rip-off city. So Ari did Ohtani to the Yankees for Clint Frazier and Miguel Andujar, even though neither of them are even there. But Yankee fans were trying to trade those guys forever. And they would try. They'd be like, name the top player, and we're trading Andujar and Frazier for him.
And throw in Florial.
So realistic.
No relation.
Yeah. If you want to hear hashtag URT, like the trades like this, but like people think they're real, local sports radio in New York is insane for that. Forrest, Jonathan India for Blake Snell. I mean, not happening, but cute. Montgomery, Stanley, Alonso and Scherzer to the Twins. Yeah, there we go. I got 2 more for you. Reagan, Manoah for Cole.
I was sitting. My pause was. I was kind of waiting to see what else they were giving him.
Manoah for Cole.
Just straight up.
There's so many problems there, but I love it. And then Toasty, you'll finish for us since he's probably the most active. Seattle sends Bryce Miller, Emerson Hancock, who's a good pitching prospect for them, Teoscar Hernandez, shortstop Cole Young, another good prospect for them, to the Angels for Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, best one yet.
There you go. That's not like that unrealistic, honestly.
That's totally unrealistic. You think Shohei would sit there and go, going to the Mariners?
Shohei wants to go to the Mariners.
Yeah, but not this year.
I'm not saying wants to. That might be a little too far. But I think they will be on his short list in the offseason.
For sure. The West Coast is there.
He has lived in Seattle for parts of the last 2 off seasons. Fun fact.
Yeah.
That matters.
Oh, yes.
Right? If Tom's River had a ball club, wouldn't that hold a little more juice for you?
Ooh.
I just got him.
Yeah.
I just got him going.
Yeah.
I think my surprise player is Verlander.
Could be.
That's a good one.
My surprise player would be Verlander. And he's pitching tonight, so it's exciting. We'll get to talk about it tomorrow.
He's pitching well. And actually, if you hit
last 3 starts.
Subway
BetMGM,
Series.
we got a little promo boost. We're boosting your odds on Mets money line and Mr. Justin Verlander. Also, if you're heading to the Giants-A's game, just a little reminder that it's Unite the Bay night. I got the receipt. I ordered sell shirts for AJ and me. It's going to be a nice little surprise when he gets back from vacation in Florida. I got those green cell shirts. It's from, I think it's called Oaklandism or whatever. I'll post it somewhere. But you can see there, join before the first AB, top of the 5th. You're silent through the at-bat to honor 55 years of baseball in Oakland and then sell the team chants. It's really cool. Like the top 2 fan clubs in Oakland have gotten together to put a lot of this through for Oakland and get that all-star game thing going when they did the silent and then the chant. And now they're going to do it with San Francisco fans. So we continue to support A's fans as unfortunately MLB does not give a shit about the city anymore. So we're with you. Okay.
I'm rooting for a long at bat.
We'll be watching, but guess what?
Me too.
It'll be hard to find the footage from that because we need social media, people there to post the clips.
We'll get some fan clips.
Toasty.
Exactly. Toasty.
Toasty.
He'll find it. Toasty, you can find it for us. So,
Thank you, Toasty.
more trade questions tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. And we'll go wild next week, too, with longer coverage, especially on Tuesday. We will see you on Wednesday on FT Live, baby.